I would have, I known it did that. All right, it's 5:31. We're gonna call the meeting to order for the Genesee County Economic Development Committee. I'm gonna call the meeting to order at 5:31. We need roll call.
Commissioner Lloyd? Commissioner Winfrey?
Here.
Commissioner Getzinger? Commissioner Brown? Commissioner Avery?
Here.
Commissioner Shoemaker?
Present.
Commissioner Kuzma?
Here.
Commissioner Wayhill?
Here.
Commissioner Flewelling?
Present.
I need a motion to approve the minutes from July 15th, 2026.
Move it.
I have a motion to support. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Public comment to the committee. Public comment to the committee. Thank you. Please state your name and where your residency, and you'll have 3 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I voted for 3 years.
Good evening, everyone. I guess it's all gentlemen now. My name is Elizabeth Taylor. I live in Genesee County. I'm here to speak about the pig with lipstick, the dump, the recycling center, which I've spoken to the county before about. So the county so I spoke to a construction manager. It's a new industry. I didn't know that. So the county government is building a recycling center in the city, 1 block on a hill up from the Flint River. And you know our Flint River has been assaulted by government, right? For what, 12 years now? Miss McClinton's here to verify how long. It's 3 blocks from a historical cemetery, and that's about 150 to 200 yards. Within 2 to 3 miles of downtown. We don't want those kind of things near our downtown. And it's only really guaranteed by your own investigation for 25 years, which of course I won't be here. And maybe you won't be here either, but that's not a legacy we want to leave. It's grant funded, and we all know the problems with that, right? The grants just dissipate. So there's not enough money. The site selection and the land, it's just a beautiful spot. It's flat. Flint doesn't have hills. Genesee County doesn't have hills. So you can see beyond the area. So if you just left it alone and just let it be, it would be a lovely piece of property. A recycling center doesn't deserve that kind of property. Of course, it's still a dump, right? It's an industrial use. Best planning practice generally encourage industrial facilities to be located in established industrial zones. That is not an industrial zone. Away from a historic district, away from cultural attractions, away from schools, and the area is targeted for economic development. I mean, it's just right there. I can walk there. Even if the facility is well operated, the location can influence surrounding land use and future investment in our community. Is that my 2 minutes?
Yes, it is, ma'am.
Can I keep going?
I would ask my board if everybody's fine with giving her additional minute. I'm fine with giving her additional minute.
No objection.
There's no objection, ma'am. Please move forward.
Thank you, because I'm only on my item too. Proximity to the Flint River. Any site located near a river requires careful stormwater management, which you've talked about in your community meetings. Construction activities and long-term operation increase importance of controlling runoff, erosion, and potential contamination. We don't want any of those things happening to the Flint River. It's 1 block away from the Flint River, straight down the hill. While these risks can be managed through engineering controls, the closer a facility is to a waterway, the more critical it is to demonstrate that those controls are adequate. Truck traffic. Recycling centers typically generate, which you've discussed in your meetings, regular truck traffic from residents, collection of vehicles, transport haulers. Increased heavy truck traffic can accelerate pavement deterioration, increase maintenance costs for public roads, and create additional traffic conflicts for pedestrians and nearby business. It's only a couple blocks from the state park that the Mott Foundation is investing in, you're investing in, the city of Flint is investing in, so why would we put a pig with lipstick there? The economic development piece, Cities often invest heavily in revitalization to the downtown district through tourism, the hotels right across the street, housing and private development. Locating industrial-type facilities near these investment areas can create compelling land use properties and may discourage some future commercial investment. Historical resources. Construction adjacent to a historical resource should be evaluated very carefully because there is a cemetery right there. Even when there is no direct impact nearby, development can affect the setting, accessibility, and character of a historic site that's contribute to a community's identity. Flint needs all the support they can have for a positive community identity. I'll come back and visit at the next public speaking time. Thank you for the extension.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else for public comment?
Claire McClinton, Flint, Michigan, following up with Ms. Taylor, the questions raised. As a city that was the victim of the most gross man-made disaster in history, we should be very careful and very particular about environmental impacts on everything that we do. Now, what I'm trying to, and I talked to some of my environmental activist friends, and they raised some questions about the site, the recycling center. They say things in such nice ways. Was a phase 1 and in phase 2 environmental site assessment performed? Is the site within a FEMA floodplain or an area with elevated stormwater risk? You know, we had that over there in the housing units over there on the south side. Nobody looked into it before those sites were built. Has a traffic impact study been completed? What stormwater detention and water quality treatment measures are included? What erosion and sediment control measures will be used during construction? How many truck trips per day are anticipated in a recycling center? Automatic truck traffic. Has a noise study been completed? What are the expected operating hours? Why was this site selected over other industrially zoned parcels? So these are some questions that have been presented by some of our environmental community. And like I say, what we've been through as a city, we really should do our due diligence when it comes to environmental issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the Economic Committee, Development Committee? Anyone else? And closing public comment. Communications, we have none. Director of Administration, do you have anything during this time?
Mr. Chair, I will simply forward the email from Commissioner Brown, who is out tonight. So
I will touch on 3 of those when we're done slightly, but just a brief overview of what to expect.
Mr. Chair, if I may, some of the questions that were raised by the speakers relative to the recycling center, specifically some of the questions that were raised by Mrs. Claire McClinton, can we capture those and maybe have something provided to me and commissioners, whoever will want it in the district, about any of those studies, any of those questions, you know, about the FEMA floodplain and traffic impact studies, traffic, noise studies, and other industrial property considerations. Can you put something together that would be helpful? That way I can be able to share and make sure we have all the answers to those kinds of things.
yeah, we can certainly do that and provide that to the full board. And also, if they would like to come in and sit down with our planning department and go over what is actually happening there, and they can see some of the conception drawings that are happening there, I think that may clear up a lot of concerns that they may have.
Okay, thank
So
you.
they want to reach out to me, and I think they've got my number. So
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, we have no old business, now on to new business. Resolution 2026-0856, approval of an agreement between Genesee County and Neighborly Software in the amount not to exceed $31,980 for a period from June 30th, 2026 to June 29th, 2027 to provide tracking of federal funding at Genesee County's
I'll
planning
move it, Mr.
department.
Chair. Support.
I have a motion to support, or any discussion? If no one has any, I just have one, as I see on here, June 30th is the date. Why are we getting this so late?
Thank you. We did not get the contract from Neighborly until after the contract had expired. So we, 2 months before the contract expired, followed up with them to get a new contract. They said they were working with their legal department. As soon as we got the contract, we ran it through our legal counsel and put it on the next agenda item. So it was the delay of the vendor.
One other question here. Did it have an auto renew in it then?
No.
So we've been operating without a contract then for a period of roughly
Correct.
month and a half?
Yep, and we said there's nothing we can do, you didn't give us a contract in time, so
Yeah.
we put it on them.
Did we pay them for that period of time?
We have not, it's a yearly payment, and we have not made a payment.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion and support. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 2026-1039, approval of agreement between Genesee County and Destination by Design in the amount not to exceed $175,000 to provide for marketing and branding consultation for the Genesee County Legacy Trails. The cost of this agreement is fully grant funded. I need a support.
Support.
I have a motion support. Any discussion? Commissioner Kuzno.
Yeah, I don't know if this is probably Derek, but who's the grant through?
Thank you. The grant's through the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation.
Thank you.
Commissioner Flewellen.
Eric, is this a one-time expense, or is this gonna be ongoing year over year?
So this is a one-time expense.
Okay.
It's really to put together the county-wide branding of our trail network system and signage and marketing and all that material. So yeah, this is just a one-time.
Okay, and that will cover all the materials, all the advertising, everything that will,
The design of what the signs are gonna be, all the different things so that we can have a holistic approach. So we can put like there's website pieces in here, mapping pieces, signage, marketing materials, etc.
okay. Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's gonna be ongoing costs to maintain websites and all that kind of stuff that won't be covered under this.
Not under this, and then as we move forward, once we get this done, then we can talk about what that funding would be. And so we've had a pretty good partnership with the Mott Foundation on that. And so the intent is to really do what we've seen in other communities where they, and when we brought all of our local units together, they said, we really want to brand all of our stuff as one. And so, but there's some options out there on the ongoing maintenance that I think we can take care of.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Just a follow-up to Commissioner Flewellen's question, just about, just like the comprehensive plan, if it's gonna include websites and those kinds of things, is it possible to have all of that put together as one total package versus bringing back pieces later? So we understand what the full breadth of the project is, what the full breadth of the cost is?
Yeah, so once we get to the end, once they put all this stuff together, everything will come back to this body. So you'll be able to see what all the branding, all the packaging, all that information is. Absolutely.
So this contract, is this them developing the
Yes.
plan, or is it them actually printing stuff that's gonna go out and that kind of thing?
So it's twofold. It depends.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking the question,
Correct.
cause I'm a little
And
confused.
so what I can do is, if you want, I can send the proposal and stuff's in here, but what I can do is send a synopsis of exactly what it is. So for example, some of it is developing our GIS website and our website information, right? So that's gonna be something that is something we're gonna have. The other piece is developing what the signage is, what are those things for signs. And so for example, every new trail that gets built would, as part of that trail, have that signage put in it. So some of them will be today, and then some of them as the trails get built and as the trails go up, then that new signage and stuff will happen. So, but I can kind of paraphrase that proposal, so it's a little bit easier to kind of walk through what the deliverables are.
I'd appreciate that,
Sure.
just so I can better understand what this, what it looks like. Because on one hand, it's, hey, we're putting together a plan, it's consulting, but then on the other hand, it's they're actually creating some stuff and they're going to bring some stuff for us to look at. I'm not opposed to doing something. I believe that the trail should be marketing. I'm just having a hard time following the specifics of what they're doing.
Yep.
So
Absolutely, I'll provide that to the board.
can you provide it by next Wednesday?
Provide it by tomorrow, end of the day. That way, if people have questions, I'm more than happy to answer
Thank
any additional.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair, please, if I might. Derek, question for you. The total investment in our trail infrastructure over time, if I ask you what that is, do you have the figure? I know we recently accepted $20 million or $30 million grant from CSMOD. I assume this is part of that. What's the?
So the total investment is somewhere, and I have the number exactly, but it's in that $80 million range, all in, all funding sources, et cetera. And so far to date, I think we have commitments from the Mott Foundation probably in the $4 million range so far, like actual commitment grant dollars
In hand.
in hand.
I see.
So we have about 4 million in hand, and then there's, part of that overall strategy is to develop the projects.
It's possible I'm talking about things that we know about but haven't been announced. I shouldn't do that, right? All right. So, point is, it's a multi-million-dollar,
Yep.
tens of million dollars commitment. A lot of this is related to community and economic development, which is why it's on this committee. So I'll be happy to vote for the piece around developing the branding and the marketing so that people from near and far are able to navigate our trail system. Do you know offhand, once it's complete or once the current vision is complete, how many miles of trail we'll have and how that compares to any other county in the state?
So when we finish, it'll be a little over 200 miles, 212, I want to say 11 miles. Approximately, I think it's about 45% of the population of Genesee County will be within a 20-minute walk of any of those trails. So interconnected trails, connecting communities, and I think it's about 45% within a 20-minute walk of any of those trails. So you'll be able to access that throughout Genesee County.
And I imagine one of the larger trail systems in the state.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair to say?
Yep, and our challenge has been, we have these gaps, and so our big issue is how do we connect the communities, right?
Yeah.
So you're not just going 2 miles here, let's connect and connect. We're just, a project that's just happened in Linden to Fenton's just getting connected. So how do we continue those connections?
All right. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Lloyd.
thank you, Mr. Chair. I regret to circle back to this, but I'm looking through the details of it, and it says that, resources that we're giving, that we accepted from my foundation was set aside to develop a branding and marketing strategy for these parks, and then are these trails, and then the 3.5, the same thing. I would actually feel more comfortable. My concern is piecemealing the project. I think it makes it more difficult for us to understand how the monies are being spent. I would rather have a comprehensive plan that, even if it's spelled out in phases, to say the first phase is, they're gonna be figuring out what the branding looks like. That's gonna be $275,000 or $175. Then the next phase is gonna be whatever, and that's gonna be $1 million. And the next phase is gonna be whatever. versus, hey, bring this piece and then there's another piece that's coming. I think that it's not the best way for us to do it.
Well, and to your point, so we can show the entire project, right? So the entire $80 million, where the projects are, how much they're gonna cost, so that way you can see how it all kind of fits together.
And it's broke out and it shows like phases, cause like this company right here, if they're giving us proposal for this contract, they should be able to say, if I receive this contract at 175, this is what you can expect.
Yep.
In terms of the turn. Do you have that?
Mhm.
You're providing that to us.
Yes, so I'll provide the specifics on this, and I'll provide the detail, and then I'll do a synopsis, so that way you can, go through it.
Okay.
And then I'll also provide, kind of that overall vision, so you can see, you know, the 200 and some odd miles of trails, where they're connecting those projects and what phases those projects are in. So they're all phased out specifically throughout Genesee County, so you can actually see those too. So that way you'll see it kind of how it all kind of fits together.
So here's my last question. I just want to be clear. So we know that we have what, 3.5 plus 275,000. So we have 300 and 300 and what, $95,000. 395. Let me see. 3.567 75. 3.775 for this project. Who has the plan for how all of these dollars are going to be spent?
I think that's what I think, let me shoot some stuff around. I think you'll see how that fits together
Okay.
with the plan of how those dollars kind of work and the concept behind it.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Derek, I have one question. Again, as always, you're gonna have 200 miles of trail. How are we gonna fund to maintain these? Because guess what? They're eventually gonna go bad. Trees are gonna grow underneath them. Pieces are gonna pop up. People could get hurt. Also, have we thought of, or has the commission thought of actual how we're gonna secure these?
Yep.
Because some of them will be very rural, and you're gonna need people to patrol or watch over them. Is there additional funding gonna be given to take care of those two items? If you could speak on that, I'd appreciate it. And if
So
not, you can give me something, but.
Yeah, so I'll speak on the maintenance piece, because it doesn't, to your point, doesn't make sense to build something if there's not a plan to maintain it, right? So we are actually, in next year's funding, we have money set aside to actually come up with a maintenance strategy for all those, so that as we start bringing up, because we already have 150 miles of trails currently. And so we want to evaluate what's worked, what hasn't worked, what are the things we could do differently. And so as we implement new ones, we can learn from mistakes that people have made in the past or things that they've done well. So part of that is with our next year's budget after October 1, we're going to do a actual evaluation on maintenance and come up with some options on what that could be, because that's part of the package. And then the security piece, that's a community issue. But I think as we talk about, if we're gonna go out and talk to communities about maintenance, we can talk about security too. I don't think there's any reason we couldn't roll that security piece in, because I think in a lot of cases, there's some communities that this might be their first trail. And other communities might have had trails for 30 years, right? So when you bring those new communities on, what are we doing?
I look forward to hearing more about it.
Yep.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lloyd and then Commissioner Kuzno.
No, I spoke already. I'll defer to Ms. Kuzma.
You know, on the maintenance and security, they, out in my district, they've had the trails for, I don't know, 35, 40 years. It's been a long time. Usually the maintenance, they get funds from the DNR to repair and things. As far as security, the local municipality, they actually go out and they got motorcycles or they got bikes and they ride the trails. So they're out there. That being said, people are people. There's still vandalism. years ago, there's crime too. It happens. We can't protect people 100%, but that's how they do it out there, and that's where the funds come from. In Vienna Township, where the majority of it's at, of course, they contract with the sheriff, and they provide security there. And then in the city of Clio, their city police do it, and so it's the local municipalities, like he said just a little while ago. And that's how they maintain it. And they go out there with the, they have, in the wintertime, they'll go out there with ATVs with snow plows and stuff and push it, the snow off, so that's how they do it. And I would assume that's how, like he said, all the areas are gonna have to do that. It won't be the county, but it'd be the local municipalities, I would assume. Thank you.
I don't mean to get in the weeds. I spoke about this a couple times, but I'm just a bit uneasy. This is ultimately a $4 million endeavor, $4 million project, and although it's grant funds, it's still a huge project. And the project's going to span across probably the breadth of the county, where there are trails and many other districts and so on and so forth. I would have liked to have seen this vendor come in and maybe even do a presentation to us before we grant a contract, because I'm, again, looking through the details. Looks like they're going to be putting together the strategy, right? And there's other groups that have interviewed this vendor, and I see where you went through maybe 14 vendors and identified this as the one that really rose to the top, but we haven't had an opportunity to engage with them. I'm not suggesting we should with every vendor, but what I'm saying is it's ultimately a $4 million span. At least those are the monies that we received to do it. It's just been good to maybe have them come give us something, show us something, or for us to have more information about this vendor and what we can expect before approve them. So that's.
Let me just clarify one thing, because I know we're talking about some different things. So the approximately $4 million that we have in hand is not for marketing. We're looking at $175,000 for marketing. The other amounts are for match money to actually do trail construction. So we're funding trail construction out in Fenton Linden area for the Silver Lake extension. We're funding trail construction out in Grand Blanc Township right now. So that $4 million, the majority of that is actual project money for actual construction. The only amount that this company is going to get is $175,000, and that's it.
One follow-up question: what's the total amount that's been set aside for the marketing? For
$175,000.
Okay, and then the piece you talked about that will come back to us is not for this company; it's just for the work.
Yeah.
The
So
printing and that
the
kind of
whole picture of it's about an $80 million total project. That will outline, here's the projects, here's the estimated cost, here's the estimated phasing of when those will happen, and those are the construction jobs. So when we're talking 80 million, that's construction dollars, which is state, local, nonprofits, etc. And so this piece is just the piece that the marketing piece, which has been the piece that's been missing, because we actually have some really awesome trails right now. Beautiful trails through county parks. Other communities, Grand Blanc has some really nice trails. But if you go on the website or if you go to look anything up, you can't find them, right? So we really have to really up our game on that.
I appreciate it. I'm more clear. Thank you for indulging me.
Yep.
Do you have direct access to the Genesee County Metropolitan Alliance, the 5-year strategic trail plan that they approved?
Yes.
Can you send that to me? And I don't know who else may want it, but I'd like to see it again.
Yep. So we'll do that plus the information from this plus the overall picture.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else have any questions, comments? That being said, we have a motion to support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Other business. Unfortunately, Dr. Brown could not make it. She wanted to give you a couple updates. Mr. Freeman will be emailing these out. Just a brief overview of what to expect on those. yesterday, the Sports Commission, we met with Mr. Britt, and we discussed various options. There'll be a piece on there when you're looking to that. There'll be an update on the broadband portion of it. And then you shall also be looking for the strategic growth officer with some information as far as that goes. So if you get a chance, please look those over, and any questions or concerns, please at least reach out to Josh or Dr. Brown with those. So that being said, if there's no other business, we'll adjourn this meeting at 6:02.
I call the Finance Committee to order at 6:02. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Here.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Here.
Commissioner Brown, Commissioner Avery, Commissioner Shoemaker,
Present.
Commissioner Kuznow,
Here.
Commissioner Wayhill.
Here.
And Commissioner Flewelling.
Need approval of the minutes from July 15,
Move 'em.
2026. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We now take time for public comment to the committee. Is there anybody that wishes to address the Finance Committee at this point in time? Is there anybody from the public that wishes to address the Finance Committee at this time?
Good evening again, gentlemen. My name is still Elizabeth Taylor, and I still live in Genesee County. I am following what the planning director did because I don't have the information. So there's a UAW trail that's from by the post office here by the river that goes all the way down to Hamilton on one side of Flint River, and it comes all the way back up. It is like steps away from the plan that you're talking about. And there's no reason why those plans can't connect. They can start at that plat of land that I'm so excited about. There are obviously gaps in what, planning has even identified that. One of the things I think that could really help with this is that we do things in silos. We have our own geography, and we do things separately. I wonder if we could have a community forum to talk about this so that we could access the information, so that I can say to the planning director, could I have that? Could I have that? Could I have that? Could I find out how we even got here? How did that valuable piece of property ever get to be designated as a recycling center when it's steps away from this, so far, $80 million trail? I think it's very important to have a community forum. I think it's important to let all the stakeholders be able to come and talk about it. Mott College sits right over there. They're working on a trail. Pierce Park sits right over there. They're working on a trail. And why can't we join up with the UAW trail? I mean, there's a lot already there in place. Why aren't we joining together about these county efforts? Wouldn't it be better for all of us? Wouldn't it enhance and uplift our community, all of our communities? Because I know in downtown Fenton, I can't remember the name of the main street, but there's just this little park just past, you go one back, place that intersection there, and you turn to the left if you're going out. It's just a lovely little park. Why aren't all the lovely little parks? Look at what Atlanta's doing. They connected that big city. They just did it. And you look like you're getting the money, but the public doesn't know this, and we deserve to know. We deserve to be informed in the beginning, not midway trying to convince you to please consider this. Please look at our concerns. Think about the Flint River, because that $80 million trail is following down the Flint River, and the UAW already had a trail. We need your support as a community, as a county, to save that one parcel. Genesee County's flat, and that's on a hill where the McDonald Dairy was. And it's so nice in the spring, in the winter. You can just see all over the city. It would be so nice to just leave it, to let it rest, let us all come and enjoy it together. We can bring our own chairs like we usually do at the beach or the park. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to address the committee? Is there anybody else from the public that wishes to address the finance committee? Third and final time, is there anybody that wishes to address the committee? Public comment is now closed, thank you. We have a proposed fiscal year budget from Crystal Simpson, CFO. We'll take time for that at this point in time. Crystal?
Crystal actually isn't here tonight. She is home with a medical issue. What you have before you is the result of going through those budget hearings in the early July time, and talking with the various departments through that process. What this is doing is putting the budget in front of you tonight with the hope that at the next meeting, if you need to make amendments, you'll make the amendments. If you don't want to make amendments, you won't make amendments, but ultimately we'll pass a budget at our meeting next week. There will be a public hearing at our meeting next week, an opportunity for the public to also comment on the budget. There's not a specific presentation with this, but the draft budget is attached. And there's no specific action needed.
Okay. We now take time for old business. There isn't any new business. Resolution 26-0312, approval of a request by Genesee County Sheriff's Office to continue funding of 2 executive directors of community engagement. This request is a general fund ask for the FYE 26-27 of $224,018. What's your pleasure?
Support for discussion.
Okay. Who made the support? You?
I did.
For discussion? You had a question?
Yeah, so this and several of the other resolutions, I guess this, since Crystal's not here, a question to Josh, which I believe I know the answer to, and it relates to the proposed fiscal year 26-27 budget up above. These items are not presently in that document, is that correct?
That is correct. At a previous board meeting, members asked that we make that notation if this was going to be an increase from the adopted budget, and that's where you see what this increase would be for the budget that is
Okay.
proposed.
Yes,
So-
and there's multiple items.
Right, I
Same,
would-
same answer.
Yeah, I'm gonna, if I may, so the proposed budget coming out of the budget hearings is what it is. And then this item that is on the floor now, and then number 2, numbers 9, 10, 11, and 12, those are all over and above what's proposed. Do we have a total on the asks?
It's just below $3 million.
Okay. And if we were to fund these things, one or more of them, we would draw from our fund balance?
You would, yes.
And what's our fund balance?
The unrestricted, I don't know what our fund balance number is. Russell, our deputy CFO, is out here. He can probably give you the unrestricted
I
fund
think,
balance.
what is it, about 15, 18 million?
Our projected unrestricted fund balance as of the budget that's in front of you now will be 21.8 million.
Say that one more time.
21.8.
Okay. So if we were to approve one or more of these, we would draw down on that?
Correct.
Okay. And these would be expenses that would be ongoing, is that fair to say?
It would be ongoing expenses, yes.
So built into, it's staffing, right?
It is.
Almost all staffing,
These are
if
all
not.
people, yes.
So that would become a permanent expense, essentially,
Correct.
which we'd have to budget for each year. And if revenue doesn't increase, we would continue to draw down on the fund balance.
Yes. So of note, the board has an adopted policy to maintain a 15% fund balance. Funding all of these positions brings us below 15%.
Oh, so we'd be in violation of the policy. So how much below 15% would we be?
We'd be 14.8 something.
Okay, so just under what the policy requires.
Correct.
All right, I'm gonna yield, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to ask a few questions.
Is there anybody else? Mr. Shoemaker?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To Mr. Freeman, since Crystal's here, or to you if you could answer it. We didn't spend in our current budget every dollar we've estimated. We're pretty close, but we're not, to let the public know, we're not dollar for dollar. We didn't spend every dollar we took in.
Not yet.
Not yet. No, because through the year, we get asked for additional funds, additional asks. To Mr. Freeman or you, and I think I know the answer to this, is it general policy to continue to spend your reserve down to fund something, or should you have funding there? It's not the best practice, right, what you guys have told.
That's correct.
So this goes back to a lot of these are grant funded. And as I've said before, when we provide these grants, I said, we'll be asked when they go away, or if they go away, that we're going to have to fund them. Now, can we make some choices, move some things around? I don't think you're going to move things around for $3 million. That's a lot of money. So, you know, I think their best plan of action at this point, instead of headed where I think this is headed, is to sit down and schedule a workshop, bring in those preferred parties involved with this, which would be Crystal and her group, the prosecutor's office, the sheriff's office, and actually have a conversation and try to work through this. Because I think where we all are right now is like, that's not a good practice to keep spending what you don't have. Because we have union contracts coming up after this next year. We have increases from there. We've ridden a high, like I've said, as far as economically for quite a while here, and we've had an increase in revenue that's been fairly consistent, but we don't know what that's going to be. So I think the best practice would be right now is to arrange a workshop either at the end of this month or as soon as possible. So I don't know how the rest of the board feels about that, but I would put a motion on the floor that we would move items 1, 2, 9, 10, 11, and 12 to a future workshop to be chose by the board, and arrange with the prosecutor and the sheriff's department when they can make it.
I'll support that with a question to the attorney. What would be we already have a motion on the floor, and he changed the motion to include multiple items here. How do we proceed?
Well, I presume like you have in the past, I mean, is it a friendly amendment or?
Could it be unfriendly? No. Sorry.
I mean,
Sorry,
it's-
but I've
it's
never,
I'm not sure
yeah.
how this is different from any other time that you
It's a
You
substitute motion.
seek, substitute
Yes,
motion.
that's what, I'll propose it as a substitute motion.
Okay.
if
All
that
right,
helps.
and I'll support that. Is there any comments about the substitute motion?
So I'll just mention, Mr. Chair, that we do have a workshop on the schedule for the 26th of August. The topic is reviewing all of our priorities that we adopted in January. So we have that on the docket for 2 hours, and trust me, there's enough to, Gary and I and Josh have been meeting on it, the agenda, so there's enough to fill that 2 hours. If this board decided that it wanted to put that into September, we could certainly do that and replace that, assuming it's on everyone's calendar, with this topic. And, you know, if the prosecutor and the sheriff and their teams would be available that night. So I'm offering that as a potential date, because the review of the priorities doesn't have a lot of urgency, although I'd like to do it at some point soon.
Okay, my question is, with that comment to the sheriff and the prosecutor, is any of these things time sensitive?
They are.
That-
Go.
Just the budget. Commissioner.
October 1st?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say that, yes, it's time sensitive.
Microphone.
I would say that, yes, it's time sensitive, not in as much as October 1st, but the work piles up, and we've got to get something done here. I had thought that's what the budget hearings were about. You know, I recognize that some commissioners couldn't make the budget hearings, but I was hoping we were in a resolution on this. This is a serious issue going on.
So what you're recommending is that, from your point of view, that it should be decided on this evening instead
Well-
of postponing it to another month?
That would obviously be something that I would like to have happen, yes. But if it's the will of this board to move it to a later time in the month of August, then so be it. But yeah, it's a crisis. We gotta move on this. I mean, I've been as you know, my chart is before you. I've been working on this, Commissioner Kuzno,
Yeah, I
for
know.
months.
Yeah, I know, I'm very much aware of that. And so at this point in time, I'm gonna withdraw my support.
possible that we could switch to the priorities in September?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to convey. The priority workshop is 2 weeks from tonight. We can have another topic. This one, if you wish, if the group wishes, Mr. Cousineau has withdrawn his support for the motion to substitute. So now the motion on the floor is back to this single resolution.
Just
Am I
the
right about
first
that?
one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we no longer have the substitute motion on the floor. But yes, as a matter of fact, we could certainly take the 2 hours that we've set aside to look at our priorities and substitute another topic.
Could I
So-
just say, Mr. Chair, I'm not available August 26th.
Well, my suggestion is that we take action on the prosecutor. Right now, we just have the one in front of us for the sheriff. We can talk about that later. It's October 1st is the time frame on that, or we can take a vote right now. What's your pleasure? Motion on the floor is to take a vote. Oh, I'm sorry, is there somebody else? Yeah, Sheriff.
These are always difficult times for the board. I recognize that. The prosecutor and I, with public safety, work well with everybody here. We had the budget meeting. We sat there and we explained we're sensitive to both sides. The reason I said October 1st is because, to Commissioner Shoemaker's point, that grant ends 9/30. In other leadership positions, we were encouraged to get grants to fund positions. But the four that I seek are not only just for public safety, but also for public involvement and engagement, things that holistically keep this county represented well. The 2 county ambassadors, the ghost lieutenants, trafficking, drugs, and human trafficking. So I say October 1st because I don't want to miss a day. I agree with the prosecutor saying we have no time to waste. I have a different ask. It's not a big ask. It's under $1 million, but it's an ask nonetheless, and I recognize that. I've always had a history of coming and working together, and I want to continue to do that. But I will say for 7 years as a sheriff, I've not come before you and asked for additional on top of general funds when the budget, I work together. So I just want you to know that this isn't an adversarial request. This is something that these 4 positions have established their value to not only just the sheriff's office, but the entire county when it comes to human trafficking, drugs, and representing people in community engagement. So the only way I'd entertain a vote is if I could get approvals. And if not, and we have to work some more, to work together, then I want to do that. I don't know what's inside, the 8 of you right now.
I'm gonna support the motion to postpone this, and I appreciate the prosecutor and the sheriff. I support the work that they do. I support public safety. My votes on this board have reflected that. I appreciate the work that all of the staff needs to do. I also understand the political. You may want to. For the rest, I'm going to say I don't want the public to think I'm directed at you.
I
so you may
understand.
want to. I hear you loud and clear.
I appreciate that.
I also understand the different ramifications around this from a financial standpoint. I mean, I'm gonna cut across the terrain and just get right to it. I also understand political elements that's also connected to it as well in general. The most responsible thing, I believe, is for us to take it to the workshop so that the board can have discussions about it, so that concerns that folks may have, those things can be addressed at that time as well. And we can have our director of finance there as well. And that's not a shot across the bow at the prosecutor, the sheriff, or the individuals that are impacted by it. I support them all. I also support simultaneously making sure we work through this in the most responsible way. I'm not suggesting that I'm not in support of the resolutions. I believe, as the prosecutor said, that these are very, very sensitive items that need to be addressed, and I believe they need to be addressed in the most responsible way. And I think the most responsible way is for us to take it up at the workshop. Now, the other thing that I'm saying is I can read, and I can count, and I'm not speaking for anybody. I'm saying my own perspective. I believe the best move is to take it to the committee. We have the resolution, we have the concerns. Nobody's going to be terminated in the next 2 weeks. Nobody's gonna get laid off in the next 2 weeks. Your departments are not gonna be negatively impacted from your staffing in the next 2 weeks. So in the next 2 weeks, it's not going to, I think in 2 weeks, we have time to have discussion that we need to have. So I'm gonna support it, and you know, if the votes are there, then the votes are there. If they're not, they're not. But my read is that I think it's good.
I understand what you're saying. My frustration is, I had a budget hearing in July and I laid out everything at that time. And I was told that it was being recorded and available for everybody to view at a later date. But if you want me to come back to a workshop, I am willing to do that, as long as it's a date that works for me. I cannot be there August 26th. I already have a commitment that evening.
Okay, do you yield? Are you done?
I'll yield.
Okay, Mr. Flowen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Freeman or the Deputy CFO, have we added to the fund balance the last 5 years? Like year after year? Have we added to it at the end of the year?
We've pretty much maintained it in that.
It's kind of maintained?
Yeah, it's been in that ballpark.
We did last year, and our current proposed budget, its general fund looks like we're spending 182,000, but because of Commissioner Lloyd's request that we just not balance our budget, that we take action, part of that expenses were from the jail netting project that's happening right now in our current fiscal year. That's not going to be finished this current year, so we're moving that into next year. So when we reduce those costs, we're actually budgeting to add $568,000 to our fund balance next year. But
Okay.
we generally balance to be zero, and then if we do add to fund balance, it's because of a lack of spending throughout the year.
Okay. Crystal was working on some things for me, and she obviously had some things to take care of, so she couldn't be here. We need public safety, obviously. I mean, everybody sees what it looks like on the streets of this county. We need that, right? Absolutely we do. We also gotta figure out how we're gonna afford $3 million. We gotta figure out where to get it from. Is there departments that can be cut? I mean, you do the vacant position sweeps. Is there a mechanism that those can just, if they're vacant for so long, they can be eliminated? And you could raise, funding for some of these positions through that process? These are things that I'd like to know.
Yeah, we do the, quarterly, we do the sweeps, right? And that money has been used historically for our capital projects.
Right.
That's how we funded, the majority of those, but certainly if it's the will of the body.
And I
then we
understand that,
can-
and I know a lot of the board members like that. I mean, but prosecutor's office is a statutory
No, agreed.
necessity. Some of the things that the sheriff's department does are statutory, right? Through you, Mr. Chair, to the sheriff, do you put in your deputies through community policing training? I know you've got the ambassadors and then they're for community engagement. Just, in my mind, 240,000 or 224, whatever.
Right.
Is that another deputy that could be on the street? Is it another couple deputies? What kind of different things could we do? Because, I mean, obviously, look at over the weekend.
Right.
There's a need.
Right, and to your point, that's exactly why John Allen Bay is one of those critical positions, because he was on the front lines trying to keep, in his perspective, calm on what happened, not only here, but on James P. Cole and a month ago over at the parks. These are the things that they do that other officers cannot do. So to answer your question, we do community policing, but we also set the standard of what that community policing is through these kinds of positions.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting, trying to tell you how to
No,
run
I
your
get it. I
department or anything like
appreciate
that. I know that maybe this is back in the 90s.
Yeah.
A lot of the local police departments did the community policing,
Right.
and they got their officers out there more.
Right. And we do that with Holiday Spectacular, Christmas in July, Deps and
Sure.
Dogs, Tunnel
Yeah.
of Blue.
Yeah.
All those are community engagement
Yeah.
events that not only just for those two, but also for the entire sheriff's office. I set the tone to be engaged with the community as much
Sure.
as I can.
And I get the need, and obviously anybody that spends 5 seconds watching the news in this county knows there's a need.
Yes, sir.
But how do we pay for it? What can we do to, if it's vacant position sweeps, I mean, it's $3 million a year forever. So other departments might have to bite the bullet, right? You know, we have to look at some way to make it happen.
Again, I concur with the prosecutor. I'm willing to work. We've always done that. We've set that example. We'll work with you. And if our point of clarification, is there a difference between unrestricted and restricted fund balance? And what is the restricted fund balance?
Can only be used for certain projects.
It's restricted. It's for a specific purpose. It can't be,
Would one of those be public
depending
safety?
on what it's restricted for, it can't be used for general fund purposes. It's
Would public
restricted.
safety be one of those restrictions?
Depends on it depends. Yeah, I would say likely not.
I mean, wouldn't an example be a grant for the trail system that carries over from fiscal year to fiscal year because we haven't spent it? So it's restricted for that purpose.
Yes.
And therefore it wouldn't be eligible for this, but those kinds of things, right?
Correct.
Those are things we could talk about at the workshop, so I concur. Whatever date you need me, my goal is to have this transition right into October 1st. We both agree to that. Public safety is both our forte and profession, but we want to make sure that we work with you.
If I could, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to ask Commissioner Flewelling's
Yes, sir.
Remarks. I appreciate the fact, and yes, prosecuting attorney's office is both constitutionally and statutorily required, and everything we do that's on that flow chart in front of you is all we do. We don't have any extras in what we do. I've made it a habit in my 22 years as the prosecutor to not what I would call whipsaw the other departments. I don't do that. They can make their own case for what's important, but all I will say is that what I do is constitutionally and statutorily required, and we don't do anything but those requirements. And you might recall, Commissioners, I sent you a 60-page attachment in an email of all the requirements of a prosecutor. It took 60 pages, and I didn't send you any of the non-required duties, which is another 60 pages, because I don't do any of those. I only do the required 60 pages, but thank you for mentioning that.
And one final thing I might add, I did send everybody an email offering that this would be something that I would consider, so we're on the same page, and there's no interpretation that you would be against public safety. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate the both of you for being willing to work with us. You know, it's been a long process. As you know, we've started the hearings quite some time ago, and anyways, where I was hoping we could get it settled tonight, but obviously it's probably not going to happen tonight. You know, I personally will vote no to move it, but I'm glad you're willing to sit down and work with us. So does anybody else have any comments or questions before we take the vote on the substitute motion?
Commissioner Flewelling has some more, and then I would like to.
Just one, you're the finance chair, I could have asked you some of it too. Where do you see us coming up with the $3 million to fund this continuously?
You said, that's the problem. Okay. You know, you're either gonna have to take it from another department, or take it from the fund balance and run at a lower amount, or you're gonna have to say no. I mean, I don't know what the will of this board is. You know, we have to, you know, ultimately, we're gonna have to make a decision fairly soon, but that's the three options. And, you know, I mean, I know how I'll vote, but I don't know how everybody else, you know, because it's, you know, it's a board, and we have to make a decision, Mr. Prosecutor.
Mr. Chair, just so it's clear, for items 9, 10, 11, and 12, which are my office, when I added them up, it was $1,576,634 and 43 cents. So I just want to make clear that those four items add up to that number. I did the math twice with a calculator.
And I
And
saw the
mine is only
finger flying.
734, so
Yeah.
we're even below the 3 million.
Yeah, right.
Again, those are things we can work out, and
Okay.
And if I might add, are we the only two offices that have grant positions that have been eliminated for this budget cycle that need to be general funded?
Mr. Freeman?
There's been no general fund provided to any office or department where a grant has ended. Typically, and we saw it at the beginning of this budget year, when a grant ends, we lay the people off. And we did that in, I think it was G-Card, we did that. They were laid off.
Fair, thank
And-
you.
and
I
of
know
course
that only
we-
too well because of what was gonna happen in April when the
Right.
state money,
Right.
ran out. Fortunately, as you all know, that money has been initiated, and we are to receive it October 1st.
Correct, yeah, I was just gonna make that comment, and, you know, we kinda gambled a little bit, but it turned out to our advantage. But, Mr. Shoemaker, you had a
Thank you, Mr.
comment.
Chair. I really appreciate that. To first address the prosecutor's question or comments about, he sat through the budget meetings. This conversation is not just about what you've asked for. This conversation is how we choose to fund it. Because as of tonight, if you were to ask me to vote for it, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna go no. So I'm putting out a branch there trying to say, let's talk about a way to do this. Because when I'm talking to our CFO, when I'm talking to others, this is not sustainable. And I trust the people in that department when they tell me this is not the common practice of what you should do. So I'm trying to put a branch out there. Yes, I realize during your budget hearings you requested these items, and these items were requested, and then when they put the budget together, the finance committee and the CFO decided this is what we're gonna do. So to clarify, it's not just about your request, it's about how we choose to fund that. That's why I'm asking for this. Secondly, these funds were created during ARPA. Why we were putting money away, remember, as a board, we had ARPA dollars to spend. So when we had extra other places, we still had ARPA to overcome it when we had these projects. We just spent more ARPA dollars that didn't get spent on other projects that we normally would cover with general fund. So of course that fund is gone up. We got, was it $78 million, if I'm remembering correctly, in ARPA dollars? So, yes, and we created these positions. But like I said at the time, what do you do when they're gone? And since I've been here, we just keep funding. We have a population that's shrinking in our county, but yet the need and the cost keep going up for our staff and the amount of employees. Those two numbers don't mesh. So I am still in favor of working this out, sitting down, talking through things, because I think that's the best way to do it. But if the board wants to vote tonight, I'm also ready to vote, but I would prefer not to. I'd prefer to talk this through and get this figured out. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anybody else that wishes to talk about the motion to, have a workshop?
Well, Mr. Chair, if I may, Mr. Prosecutor, you said clearly that you can't attend the August 26th date. If we were to move it either that Tuesday or that Thursday, are you in town? And Sheriff, the same to you. These are usually 5:30 to 7:30 or something along those lines. And then I guess we need to find out if commissioners are available, because everyone has been committed to the 26th for some time.
I can do the 25th.
The 25th, which is a Tuesday. Everyone want to take a peek at their calendars? You can,
Here's the 25th, but I can.
Do we have to do them together? Because I can do the 26th.
so
I
you,
can do the 26th.
you can't do the 25th. Okay. Well, I can't solve this.
I can do it anytime during the day.
So, yeah, so the motion actually doesn't say the 26th, it says a future workshop, so why don't we allow Mr. Freeman,
I was just gonna suppose like the September 2nd, the following week.
I cannot
Why
do
don't-
September
what-
2nd.
What,
I could do September 1st.
I yield, Mr. Chair.
Why don't we, just, take a vote to, postpone this to a workshop?
yes.
And then we'll work out the date in the next few days. Otherwise, we're gonna be here all night with
No, I
everybody
agree.
checking
We'll work it
their,
out.
you know, their calendars. So why don't we take that, that's my recommendation. We just take the vote. As I said, it's not that I'm opposed to sitting down and talking and working things out, but I'm gonna vote no, cause I'm prepared to do things now, but that's fine, whatever this board wants to do. Any comments other than that? Okay, we're gonna take a vote to all those in favor of a.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
may I just change my motion slightly that we will have this meeting before September 7th? So it doesn't
deadline
drag
on
a
it.
deadline on it, so it's actually done. And then we can handle it at the next group of meetings.
You supported it. Do you concur to the
Yes, I
7th?
support it. I think we need to get it done.
Okay. Okay. All right, we're ready to take a vote then. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion passes. We'll work that out. You gentlemen will get a email. Okay. I think we're on number 3, 26-0895, approval to obtain purchase orders for HI Hotel LLC and 75 Hospitality for $30,000 for each to be used throughout the remainder of FY '26 from the following account. Is there any, could I have a
move it.
explanation? I think it was moved and supported, yeah.
Prosecutor is here, he can speak to this request.
So this is because the purchasing policy, if a vendor is paid more than 30,000, we have to come before you for approval. That's why I'm here. What this is about is housing certain individuals in certain circumstances. And I actually don't want to really say much more than that.
That's fine, I just needed a brief explanation, thank you. Anybody else?
That answered what I needed.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor. Okay. Resolution 26-0900, approval of request to create, post, and fill 2 full-time park rangers at Genesee County's Park and Commission. The cost of this request will be paid from the following account.
Support.
Is there any comments or questions? Mr. Shoemaker.
Are these additional officers or are these just replacing, I'm not, sorry, not officers, are these additional position
Patrick, you
rangers?
out there?
Commissioners, so this right here, we are going to be reducing our seasonal line item for the cost of 2 full-time rangers and their fringes. Like most police departments, we are struggling with staffing, and this will give us dedicated staffing to be able to do that.
If I may, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
continue.
continue.
When you say struggling with staffing, can you elaborate on that so I fully understand what you're saying?
Yeah. So, you know, just like every police department out there, they're struggling with overtime and number of officers. When you look at a lot of our seasonals, we either have retirees or we have people that moonlight for other departments. So when you have other departments that are mandating overtime or offering overtime, sometimes some of our shifts don't get filled.
If I may.
Yeah, convene.
Can you give me a call tomorrow? I have some questions on how we're doing some things out there, so if you could, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 26-0917, approval of a purchase order to Mass Transportation Authority for the fiscal year ending 2026, an amount not to exceed $5,000 to provide transportation assistance. The cost of this purchase order will be paid from the following account.
Support.
I just need an explanation of what type of transportation this is. Is there anybody out there?
Brad's here, our deputy director.
Okay.
Good evening, Commissioners. Brad Snyder, Genesee County Health Department Deputy Health Officer. This is for bus passes through the MTA for our Healthy Start program.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody? Yes, Mr. Shoemaker.
I have such a problem with these MTA little nickel and dime things because they collect a very large millage from the Genesee County taxpayer, and then again we're asked to actually take from things we could spend other funds on for this, because I'm assuming this is not a grant. We don't get a grant just to pay for bus passes, correct?
It's part of the grant. Part of the Healthy Start grant requires that transportation
Yes,
is provided. Yeah.
you would think they'd work with us. Do they work with the other things? Do they give you any free additional products since they're the taxpayers are paying for this?
When this was brought before the board back in April, I believe it was, we worked with MTA and United Way to get passes donated to the health department, and they've been used for this capacity since then, but it's my understanding that that was the maximum amount that they could provide to us. So that's why we're coming back to purchase them now for the Healthy Start program.
It was just under 1,000 passes, I believe.
I believe, yeah, between 500 and 1,000.
I find it hard to believe that a millage that collects, Mr. Freeman, do you know what that millage actually?
$20 million this coming year.
$20 million. So I think it's one of the larger millages in the county.
A lot of money.
And your nickel and dime in the health department. Out of that $5,000, they got a nickel and dime. We'll say it's 25 for the year. That's just for me. We need to start sending a signal as a board to go, guess what, guys? You need to be team players. The problem is we're in such silos with all these millages and with all these different things that our county cannot move forward in the way it should. We have very gifted people. We have very giving people. These millages were passed unanimously. But if they saw how these silos are nickeled and dimed, I think they'd be very upset. So I'm a no on this until they realize that, guess what? You got plenty over there. You know, some of the wages that are paid over there are shameful. I don't want to bring them up to at this point. But you know what? To take from the taxpayer, and this is not the way to do this. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, is there anybody else? I just have I'm sorry, did you?
I'm going to speak in favor of the motion. 1,000 bus passes have been used since April. Is that what I heard? Roughly?
It's.
I don't need an exact number.
No, we haven't used all of them yet, but
You're getting ahead of it.
This amount going forward would provide enough bus passes for a Healthy Start program for approximately one fiscal year.
Okay. And did I hear, though, that 1,000 were donated to us by MTA?
I believe it was 500, but I can confirm that
It was
number.
8 something.
Okay. So many of them have been used.
Yes.
And the motion or the resolution is before us so that you all can get ahead of it, so that when you run out of the ones that have been donated.
So that our Healthy Start participants can continue to receive transportation services.
Right. Who are describe for us the clients who use these?
Yes, so Healthy Start is a maternal child health program that provides home visiting services for expectant mothers, pregnant mothers, fathers, and also children up to 18 months of age after birth. So these transportation passes are provided for those participants to get to and from doctor's appointments, and also to get to and from community resources that are covered underneath the Healthy Start grant program.
So if this body votes this down this evening, as we did in April, and there's no passes that come forward from MTA as they did after that, these folks will not be able to ride the bus unless they pay for it, or they would somehow have to find a ride otherwise. Is that to get here to this building?
That's accurate, yeah. It would be primarily to external resources that Healthy Start works with. So Healthy Start participants don't typically come here for services.
I see.
Our community health workers go out into the community to provide those services, but for when they go to the doctor's appointments or community resources external to the health department that we contract with.
Okay, I'm in favor of it. I understand the argument that's being made about the millage, but I work for an organization that has a millage, and we also charge for things. We have tuition when students want to come to us if they don't qualify for other types of aid. So not everything is free just because you have a millage. It pays for part of the organization. At least I don't know how MTA is structured, but we have a $90 million budget at Mott College. Probably 25% of it is millage funded. The rest we have to sometimes charge for services. So I don't have any issue with $5,000 so that low-income people can improve their health. This body has talked about it, health outcomes, and so maybe we should vote for this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Let me speak. The 5,000, that comes from the grant, or that comes from the money we give you from this general fund?
This comes specifically from the Healthy Start grant. It's a federally
Okay, it
funded
comes out
grant.
of the grant.
Yes. No general funds.
And then the MTA was, I'm a little confused. Was that just on the ballot for an increase?
Mm-hmm.
So we gave, the citizens gave the MTA an increase in the ballot, that's what I thought. Okay, Mr. Shoemaker and then Mr. Flowing.
You wanna go?
Go ahead, I'm good.
Okay. One, nothing is ever free as far as what the government gives, because they had to take it from someone else. That's a fact. Two, we voted this down. Amazingly, they gave us the passes, because this board needs to stand up for the working men and women. Yes, there are people who need help. They could give it. They have the funds over there. This is that silo thing I'm talking about. Amazingly, we did vote it down, and guess what? The passes showed up. But until you stand up, people are going to keep doing it. If they don't want to give it, there's other choices we can make. But the fact is, this is double dick being the taxpayer. Because you could use these funds for other things. And we know you could, because you and we've all had conversations with the health department. These funds can be used for additional visits, for additional care. You could do those things. But yet, we're asked, so when I get my tax bill or my residents get their tax bill, they have to pay an increase. But yet, additionally, we're not giving those services deal. We're not sending them to additional doctor, because we got a group that's in this county that's taking one of the larger tax cuts or breaks, or one of the larger tax chunks from our residents, is nickel and diming us at the county. Like I said, I can't be for, I want people to get there, but guess what? I also want people to have doctor's visits. It's just very frustrating, because one, nothing is free, because you had to take it from someone. But the other fact is this, that they have continued on this. Things keep showing up for not just this program, but other programs. And I just can't be for it, because guess what? This is that silo stuff that's not moving us forward to be successful. And if you do look at the wages over there, I wish I could pay people that type of wage. It's not. It's just irresponsible, I believe, because you're rewarding the group for not managing things correctly. These are taxpayers' funds, and when you have salaries like they have over there, it's offensive. And then you come to us for $5,000. Come on, just eat it. It's nothing to them. $20 million budget. So, anyways, thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate it.
Okay, is there anybody else? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Nay. Motion passes. (26-0947) forwarding to receive and file a copy of the paid county bills for the period 6/21/26 through 7/12/26 in a total amount of $15,007,671.77. Is there any discussion or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 26-0949, approval of a proposed budget amendment to the 25-26 appropriations resolution for various line items as described in the attached budget adjustment request. Is there any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 26-0951, approval request to increase the purchase order to U-Line by an additional $22,800 for a total not to exceed $27,800 to provide for the purchase of existing U-Line packaging material. The cost of this increase is paid from the accounts listed. Is there any comments or questions? Mr. Shoemaker.
Does this increase fit in their budget? Or is this an additional request?
I think it's additional, but is Russ still out there? I'm sorry.
Good evening,
Go ahead.
Pamela Coleman, Director for G-Card. This is a budgeted item.
Okay, thank you, Pam.
You're welcome.
Is there any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. I think we've taken care of the last four. Is there any other business?
No, Commissioner.
Thank you. We now adjourn at, what time is it?
50.
Thank you.
right, governmental operations, I would like to call the committee to order at 6:51 PM.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Present.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Here.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Present.
Commissioner Brown, Commissioner Avery,
Here.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
Present.
Commissioner Kuzma,
Here.
Commissioner Wayhill.
Here.
Commissioner Flewelly.
Present.
All right, meeting minutes from the previous meeting are before us. Pleasure.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported, Commissioner Winfrey, Commissioner Avery, support. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Now we have our public comment portion of our meeting. Is there anyone who wish to address this committee? Anyone wishing to address this committee? Anyone wishing to address this committee? Public comment is now closed. There are no communications before us. Any report from Director of Administration? No.
Nothing for this committee.
First item, old business resolution 2026-0704, approval of request by Genesee County Sheriff's Office for the purchase of a Virage truck driving simulator in the amount of $155,612 to expand workforce development for the Genesee County Jail Ignite course offerings. The purchase is paid for from the GIVE grant. What's your pleasure?
I'll move it.
All right, it's been moved by Commissioner, Chairman Wayhill, supported by Commissioner Avery. Is there discussion? I'll open it up this way, that, we discussed this in our last meeting. It was postponed to this meeting. There were some questions about, a couple of things, including, well, there's a number of questions about it. The sheriff is here. He and I spoke earlier today. He shared, some clarification and such on this. Mr. Sheriff.
I think what I'm about to say could clarify a lot, but it shouldn't have come to you this way. It's no misunderstanding. Over the last several months, I have had other obligations that have taken me elsewhere, and with no ill intent, a decision was made under my command to get that set up, and it was not brought through the proper channels, and I accept full responsibility for that. We don't make a point of doing this. 9 years as under sheriff, 7 years as a sheriff. I know the procedure. I appreciate the help that was intended for Ignite graduation, but it should not have been done. We'd have been much better by having a picture with a black veil over it. So I understand the frustration. Again, as a sheriff, I accept full responsibility. With that being said, it's a valuable piece of equipment for Ignite and teaching people trades. Then in jail, we have 3 people in the class right now. But I would hope that you would accept my apologies, and it would not prohibit you from passing this now, even though it was out of proper protocol.
Thank you, Mr. Sheriff. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I've stated before, one, the process is not correct. 2, we found out that guess what? A lot of the questions we asked were not if you read over your packet that you were sent on as far as the warranty on the software, how long the software was actually valid for, is not correct. So, and if anybody knows anything about software, and I'm sure Mike can speak to this, can speak to this, is the fact that guess what? You will have to update software, and there are costs to it no matter what. And that was not 4 years. I believe it was 2 years for the software. So you're going to have additional costs. And there is additional cost bringing people to and from this, and we have additional costs we're being asked for. So every time we get asked for something, keep giving it. Well, you're not going to have cash. You're not going to have any money, and this is what we keep doing. So, like I said, I'm not for this one because one, the process I don't think is there. 2, I know there's going to be additional cost, and it gets frustrating for me each year to sit here and tell you guys when we do it again. Remember when I said this before? And we all act surprised that there's additional cost to these things. And there's no surprise because there is additional cost to it. But I appreciate you. I appreciate the Sheriff's Office getting us more information on it, or people following up on it. That was great. It was timely. So that is appreciated. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, any more discussion among the commissioners? Any additional discussion? Okay, seeing no additional discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
All right, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Sheriff.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Resolution 2026-0857, approval of a purchase order to Motorola for the fiscal year ending 2026, an amount not to exceed $32,918.90 to provide for the purchase of radios at Genesee County
Move it.
Sheriff's Office.
Support.
The cost of the purchase order is partially grant funded. It's been moved by Commissioner Shoemaker and supported by Commissioner Flewelly. Is there a discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
is the other portion of the non-grant funded a budgeted item? Or been budgeted for?
Yes, these have been budgeted along with all the other services for our radios.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item is Resolution 2026-0896. Approve of amended purchase order for Hubbard's Military Supply for the fiscal year ending 2026. An additional amount of $15,000 to provide for the purchase of uniforms and related uniform accessories is needed for various divisions within the Office of the Sheriff.
Move it.
Cost of these purchases will be paid from the accounts listed. Been moved by Commissioner Shoemaker, supported by Commissioner Avery. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Resolution 2026-0952, approval of request by Genesee County 67th District Court to create a new MERS division. What's your pleasure?
I move it.
Moved by
Support with,
Commissioner Winfrey.
support with discussion.
Moved by Commissioner Winfrey, supported by Commissioner Shoemaker. Is Anita in here? Can you come up and speak to this? While you come, we have discussion. Commissioner Shoemaker.
I would just like to hear more about this and why,
Thank you.
why it's in front of us.
I can
Anita
actually
from
start
our-
some of the discussion. It was as a result from our budget hearings. When the 68th and 67th district courts were merged, existing employees were severed from the city of Flint, and they joined the county. So we have 3 employees that have 30-plus years, close to 30 years.
Probably, yes.
Who came over, so you have judges that are serving next to another judge, and they've always been a judge, nothing's changed other than the merger of the court, and one has a notional account and one doesn't have a notional account. So what this is trying to do is, we expect that those 3 people will likely be gone in the next 3 years, or 5 years, so we're creating a division that allows them to be vested in the notional account in 10 years versus 15, and then after the 5 years, everybody it goes back to the 15-year. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Can we explain why we've chosen this plan of action?
We've recommended this because we have people that, is my belief, it's the court's belief, that have been treated unfairly in that transition.
So I understand this. It was City of Flint's responsibility.
No.
Before they merged.
Yes, yes. Yep, it
So
wasn't after.
So the majority of their employment was City of Flint.
Mhm.
We've taken this on.
Yep.
What is our portion of it that's gonna cost us? And what is the City of Flint contributing
Yep.
to this?
Yep, so it wasn't, it was not the judge's fault, so I'll say that to begin with, or the staff member's fault. It's not going to cost us anything more. What they will do is they will collect what is currently in the notional account, but right now, you don't get to keep that unless you've been here 15 years, and some of these folks will be here like 12 years, and they don't have retiree, they won't have the retiree healthcare, and they don't have a notional account. So now if you terminate employment with the county before 15 years, that money that's in your account already goes back to the county. What we're saying is for this cohort of people, they would, if they've been here at least 10 years, they keep what's in the account. Go ahead.
Was there any match provided by the county at that point?
In the notional account, it's all provided by the county.
Was there any provided by Flint?
Not once it became the 67th District Court, no.
Okay.
All right. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Resolution 2026-0955, approval of request by Genesee County's Prosecutor's Office to apply for the 2027 Stop Violence Against Women grant, an amount not to exceed $294,378, no cents for the period October 1.
Mr. Chair, I think you skipped number 4.
It's on
Okay. Okay, I'll come back to that.
Mr. Chair, I would request, since they're very similar, we can move 3 and, or 4 and 5 together.
Support.
Support.
All right, both items been moved. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. I'm getting old, so. All right. You see all this gray hair in my beard? I'm getting old, so take me a little.
Not as
Bear
old,
with me.
not
Be
as old,
patient.
not as old as I am.
Yeah. Item number 6, resolution 2026-0956. Approval of a grant award from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services in the amount $300,000 to provide representation in family court on abuse and neglect cases. Moved by Commissioner Shoemaker, supported by Commissioner Avery. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Resolution 2026-0962, approval of request increased purchase order to W.A. Butler in the amount of $20,000 for a revised total of $115,000 to provide for the purchase of peroxide plasma sterilizer.
Move it with the question.
The cost of this increase is fully grant funded. Been moved by Commissioner Shoemaker, supported by Commissioner Commissioner Avery. Commissioner Shoemaker, discussion.
I see it's grant funded, but I'm wondering what it is. If I could have just an explanation of what a plasma sterilizer is or does, or how it works. And
I don't believe Jay is here today. This is for out at Animal Care for, I believe this is the one. Let me just verify before I start talking. Yes, this is for sterilizing equipment out at in the surgery center.
not the plasma, the equipment.
Yeah.
Well, that's misleading. Next question, real quick, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Can this fit in their budget? Because I know we're a little tighter out at animal care.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any additional discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Resolution 2026-0974, approval of request to increase a purchase order to Zotis for the fiscal year ending 2026 in an amount not to exceed $25,000 for a
Move it with the
revised
question.
total of $80,000 to provide for additional medication vaccine at Genesee County's Animal Care. Been moved by Commissioner Shoemaker, supported by Commissioner Avery. Discussion, Commissioner Shoemaker.
Mr. Freeman, this fits in their budget.
It does, yeah. It requires no additional funding.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. If there's no additional business before us, government operations is adjourned at 7:04 p.m.
Gonna call the Human Services Committee to order at 7:04 p.m. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lloyd?
Present.
Hang it.
Oh. Let's do the roll call. I have a piece that I neglected, if it's okay, but I won't disrupt the roll call.
Lloyd?
Present.
Winfrey?
Here.
Getzinger?
Here.
Brown? Avery?
Here.
Shoemaker?
Present.
Kuzenow?
Here.
Wayhill?
I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Llewellyn?
Mr. Chair, if I may request the floor just momentarily, it won't be a lengthy discussion. The sheriff called me earlier today, Mr. Freeman, about additional resolution that was going to be for government operations. I did approve that resolution to come. If you don't have copies of that tonight, can we bring it for our next meeting? And actually, can you send it out to commissioners, post it, or whatever we have to do, and it'll be before us if it's okay with you, Mr. Chair, if we can bring it to the full board meeting. And the item, can you tell us what that was again?
The short of it is, and I know Commissioner Shoemaker know what I'm talking about, when you get contracts done before the people start, which is what I'm trying to do. We have everything all in line except for Mount Morris and Lake Fenton. When we had our subcommittee, we were gonna add tasers, another cost to it. We're gonna break it down. We're gonna push that to a little bit later, probably till after the budget season start. And because of that, working with fiscal services and IT, these two need to be approved before the school starts because they're starting much earlier this year, as you see schools across the county. This is non-general fund money. It's 2 positions for Mount Morris High School and 1 position for Lake Fenton High School. Those SROs need to be deployed on the first day of school, which is the reason why we had it added. So I appreciate the courtesy if you'd consider it.
Thank you.
If I might, Mr. Chair, to this chair, real quick, will we bring it as an add-on next week, since we didn't vote on it tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
If it's okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I neglected to.
Yeah, I get it. I just wanted to make sure that's why I was talking with our attorney.
Yes.
Pass it through committee to the full board.
He has the authority.
As long as you
We'll
can-
take care of it and make sure it's on the agenda.
The chair can just add it.
But we'll need to bring it as an add-on, right? Because we didn't vote on it.
We'll do it in accordance with our rules.
Okay. As long as we're obeying the rules, I'm fine.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Back to you, Mr. Chair. Sorry.
Have my committee back now? Okay, Chair entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So move.
Support.
Properly moved and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Are there any public comments to this committee? Any public comments to this committee? Any public comments to this committee? Hearing none, public comments are closed. No communications.
No, we do.
Director of Administration?
So, I don't know how you want to handle this. At the last board meeting, there was a request from, I don't know how many there. There was a request from this board to come back with several different options around, what are items number 1 through 4 under old business. Working with Crystal and our friend Lynn in Senior Services, we've come up with several different proposals for you to discuss. We have the detail here in front of us. We're happy to walk through this with you so that you can see what the proposals are and can make a decision. So do you want to do that now under this portion, or do you want to, I mean, it makes sense to do it now.
Let's do it now.
Okay, so Lynn and Russell, who's super excited to be here tonight, if you guys can come up, and what we'll do is we'll walk through, do you have the PowerPoint loaded? They didn't give you one? Well, you guys all have one in front of you, so you don't even need it up on the screens. So we came up with 7 different proposals around funding recommendations based on what we heard in terms of discussion from this board, but then also we try to take into account what was presented through the Senior Millage Task Force. So I think, let me just talk at a high level of what those proposals are, and then we can get down into the nitty-gritty. So we have a proposal number 1, which just provides a flat increase of 5% to senior centers and providers. Just everybody gets 5%. Proposal 2 would be a 5% flat increase to senior centers and providers, and then also more money to those providers who have a current wait list. So whether or not you had a wait list, you're getting 5%, plus you're getting, if you have a wait list, you'd get a little bit more. Proposal 3, is that the one that I just said? Proposal 3 is a 5% increase to senior centers, and then an increase to those providers who currently have a wait list. This is gonna get confusing. Proposal 4 is a 3.5% inflationary flat increase to senior centers and providers. 5 is a 3.5% increase plus trying to reduce wait list. Proposal 6 is a 3.5% increase to everybody, plus an increase to those centers or those providers that have a wait list. And then proposal 7 is an entirely different, is no increase to senior centers. We push to reduce wait lists as much as we can. We bring on the RAMP program, which was a recommendation from the task force, and then we also reduce an allocation to the elder abuse. So how could, we looked at this from the kind of view as how do we ensure that what we're doing is sustainable over fiscal years. We're ensuring that we have enough fund balance that, you know, we've got a funding lag, right? These things are levied in December, so we've got to have enough money from October 1 until we start getting tax money in to be able to pay for these things. So that's where we were keeping an eye on fund balance, and just like in the general fund, we want to keep around 2 months worth of funding available to cover that gap, right? So that we're not drawing from the general fund to pay for these things. So if you look at proposal number 1, you see what a flat increase to seniors, and I'm in the PowerPoint now. The flat increase of 5% to each of these would provide, you know, increase to everybody, whether or not you have a wait list. And I think before we move forward, any further, there was a lot of discussion around, we need to make sure that we give service providers, non-senior centers, an increase as well if we were going to do an increase to senior centers. We go out to bid for these service providers and do a unit style pricing, right? So we say, we want you to give a ride to somebody going to, and jump in if I'm off base here, going to the doctors, and we put that out to bid, and they say, we can do that for X dollars. We had some discussion internally with staff. Does it really make sense to just give somebody who doesn't have a wait list an increase when they've already gone through an RFP process and said that we can do it for this unit price? So that's why we did not recommend this particular proposal, because we don't think it's using the dollars effectively, and we don't think that it's using the dollars to target where we see and where the task force saw a significant problem. Did I sum that up correctly?
Yes.
So we did not recommend proposal 2, or proposal 1 that I just talked about. Proposal 2 looks at, again, a flat 5% to senior centers, a flat 5% to all service providers, and then those service providers that had a wait list, we wanted to increase those too. Again, it runs into kind of the same problem that we talked about in proposal 1. Why are we giving increases to people that don't have a wait list? But also doing this would bring our fund balance down to a level that we believe is not sustainable. This proposal would bring the fund balance down to about 7.91%, and we don't believe that that's a sustainable path moving forward. So we did not recommend that budget 3. So you asking yourself, why are you giving us all these proposals that you're not recommending? It's because this is what we heard people talking about at the last meeting. Yeah.
I have a question about proposal 3. So senior centers, 5%, and they can use it however they wish.
Yep.
Operations, salaries, etc. Service providers, it's not a percentage. It's about, amounts of dollars that will allow them to reduce waiting lists for meals, transportation, snow. These two together make up proposal 3, right? And that gets
Correct.
us, that gets us to, right? That gets us to a 10.23% fund balance. Is proposal 3 essentially the same as numbers 1 and number 2 under old business, or is it not?
Yes.
So if we were tonight under old business to adopt, for sake of argument, numbers 1 and 2, that's proposal 3.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So we just talked about proposal 3.
Question. On the millage, on the senior millage, do we spend every dime of that every year, and how does it break down?
So we're trying to keep a fund balance again to make up for that gap period, right, between where we get the funding in December, January, where the tax collection starts to come in, and where we've got to pay for services between October and December. So I don't know what the fund balance is off the top of my head right now, but just like in the general fund, we want to keep about 2 months worth of funding available.
Not my question. My question is, let's say the millage brings in 20 million.
Yep.
Do we give so much of that 20 million to the service centers, and then the rest of the pot goes to the providers, or how do you break it up?
So the senior centers are on a scale, right? They've got a level 1, level 2, level 3.
Yeah, I understand that.
So that's how they get their funding. On the service provider side then, when we go out and say we want to offer this service, we do that through an RFP process that says this is a per unit.
Yep.
So where we see the most need, that's where we try to direct
And then what's
the
left?
funding to.
And what's left?
And what's left is what's in the current fund balance, and we want that number to be around 16%. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, so you're still trying to build it.
No.
You don't, do you keep some money out for other senior service stuff?
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
it typically ebbs and flows. Some years we reduce spending to try and build some of that fund balance back up. Then once we have some fund balance built up, Then we bring on new programs, give out increases to spend that down. So some years we use fund balance, other years we add to it. It's just what the boards decide at the time.
What that priority is.
I was looking at it more like the arts millage, where they keep a little pot for art stuff after they give it to all these guys, right?
Right, yeah.
We don't do that for seniors.
We don't. No, we hold back a little bit of money just because of chargebacks and that sort of thing. But that's a little bit different because we're not directly providing the service, right? So we give a bigger percentage of that back all to the arts, the foundation, because we don't have bills to pay in those months where we're low on funding for that. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking about if you had a little pot like that when you had waiting lists to get into that pot.
Right.
But we
Yeah, well, that's what we're trying to do in this budget proposal 3, right? So we've got fund balance now that's higher than what we think a recommended percentage should be. So we want to take that fund balance down to the recommended percentage and then use that to try to reduce those wait lists. Proposal 4 is just a flat 3.5% increase to senior centers and service providers, not impacting the wait list. That would get our fund balance down to about 20%, which is higher than the recommended minimum. Proposal 5. All service providers. Oh, that's because there's multiple pages. Okay. Proposal 5 is 3.5% across the board to everybody, plus taking some fund balance out at the same level to reduce wait lists. So that's pages 7 and 8. And again, not a sustainable model. Proposal 6 is just a 3.5 to senior centers and then just funding to address wait list. And that gets us below a recommended fund balance as well. So pages 9 and 10.
Josh?
Yep.
Commissioner Flewellen has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Huh?
Are you on number 7?
Now I am, yes.
Okay, I have a question on number 7.
Yep.
So,
Microphone.
thank you. Looking at these numbers real quick. So, I know we've talked about this before with VAAA.
Yep.
And getting rid of, or bringing in-house some of those intake services.
Yep.
And I'm showing VAA's total contract is 544,513 in the 25-26 budget. There is nothing budgeted for social worker in the 25-26. So the numbers aren't really jiving to me.
They can speak to the specifics.
Good evening, Commissioners. Through the chair to you, Commissioner Flewelling. So how this started is VAAA has two different contracts. They have the intake and referral, and they also have case management. In the discussion, it was talked about what programs within the senior millage could come in-house.
Mhm.
Of all of our programs, of our 40 contracts, those two could be done in-house. On paper, it does look like a cost savings, but I want to stress that this type of program is not an October 1 that we could just flip the switch. For a period of anywhere from 6 months to maybe a year, it would be a transition time, and that would mean having the cost in-house as well as the cost continuing with a contract.
Sure.
We also don't have concerns with Valley and how they're running their program. This was simply some conversation of what could be run within the office. The social worker, which came from the task force recommendation, is a separate piece. This was getting a social worker to be in the centers performing different social work tasks. There was 2 talks about that. One, putting that out for RFP, which would be a discussion with all the senior centers as myself and my team to put that. The other thought was bringing a social worker in-house to be an additional staff member that would do the work in the senior centers, as well as just enhance information, referral, and outreach within our office.
Okay. Thank you. So I guess my my next question is, unless I missed it, this is only an option in option 7.
Correct.
Why? And I say that because this, if it is a cost savings on paper, right? That's fine, but it's gonna be real one day. Even if it takes a year to get going, ramping it up, as we go forward through the years, we're already talking about fund balances and everything else. If you can save money and provide this in-house, is it a cost savings over the next 10 years?
Yeah.
Then I think it should be in the ones, just me personally, not to cut you off, sorry.
No, you're good.
But if we're talking, let's look at number 1. Just look at number 1, 3.5, or 5.
Yeah.
5 to both, with a fund balance of 18%, right? Decent fund balance, and you bring that in the house, it can change some things there too, right? If I may, just a couple more questions that were posed to me. And I think I probably asked you this before, Lynn, so I apologize if I have. Do the service providers provide monthly reports like the senior centers do?
Absolutely.
Do they report on, how would you describe it? Unique interactions versus repeated clients? Does that make sense?
Each, I guess, so for a service provider, an in-home service provider goes into the home, provides 2 to 3 hours of personal care and chore. That report of all few hundred of those clients comes to our office each month. Name, number of hours, miles, everything.
Okay,
you know,
that's
was
what I'm
done.
looking for, is the individuals. I mean, if they go to
Yes.
the same house 20 times, they report
They're
20
gonna go to the
clients, or they
house
report
weekly.
1, okay? So that was my first question. My second one is, within your office, do you have a quality control process that follows up with these clients of the various service providers to make sure that these services are being provided and they're quality services, if that makes sense?
Absolutely.
I ask that because of what we see going on across the country right now with a lot of these programs that are Medicare, Medicaid funded, and those services. Yeah, I say I came to your house, but hey, I'm your physical therapist. You don't want to get off the couch. All right, I'm still getting paid. Sit on the couch, right? So I just want to make sure that there's some quality control follow-up taking place if we're talking about increasing the funding to these service providers to make sure that they're actually doing the job that they're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we can see if the driveway's plowed and the lawn's mowed, but the in-home services, things like that.
Yes, especially for in-home care, the case managers, they contact each client throughout a 6-month period to make sure. A lot of the clients are very vocal. If there's a change, they will call our 2 organizations that provide that service. Surveys are also sent out. Our office also is in communication. We get some calls if things aren't, I had a change in my worker, or I'm not happy. So there's a constant communication with all of those in-home services. Same with the home delivered meals. The driver sees that person, every single day, and can, alert the case managers or the social worker that maybe, another in-home needs assessment can be done. So yes, also our office works every other week through Zoom meetings, in-person meetings, to talk about different things that are going on to ensure that quality services are happening in the home.
And is there follow-up, one more, if I may, is there follow-up done with the senior centers, the directors there that may have some different level of interaction with these clients that might be seeing things or hearing things that maybe you guys aren't?
If a senior center director has some concerns, whether it's taking place in their center, they can bring it to us. We have monthly meetings that we can brainstorm. We also have Zoom meetings as needed.
Okay.
So yes, there is a quality back and forth and communication.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure, because that's one of the things that was expressed to me, is some of these service providers are not very responsive oftentimes to those senior directors or some of the seniors that have issues or complaints. So I want to make sure that there's an avenue through your office that can handle that.
Yes, and absolutely, if any senior center director is having concerns with the service providers, please bring that to our attention. That's what we're here for, to be the mediator if there is a concern.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Did I explain everything okay?
Okay, any other questions for Josh
The
Freeman?
only other thing that I would say is that it also is right now in our elder abuse program. I think that we're paying for a lieutenant and 2 sergeants, and what we're suggesting is we eliminate the lieutenant position from this funding.
That's number 7.
Yes.
Mi-
Why we didn't include, you asked a specific question. Why wasn't the
So the,
AAA piece included?
yeah, the intake, social worker, case management in-house that we've talked about before, why wasn't it in any of the other ones?
Right, so like on proposal 1, it really doesn't effectively address, backlog either on that, so we could go in and add that to that number 1, but you still have the backlog issue.
Sure.
We're giving increases to folks that don't really have a backlog, and then, so we're still saving some money there. So that instead of 18%, it would be like 19 or 20% from the.
And my question to that would be with the backlog, I mean, maybe there's not an answer for it, but how many people gave up trying? How many people have called over the years and there's a wait list of 150, 175, 200 people to where if we give them more money and it clears up that backlog, well, now you got room on that waiting list for another 200 people. Is the wait list ever gonna go away? Is it ever gonna clear?
Likely not. Just through nature.
Mr. Chair, if I could ask a couple of questions. So Lynn, on the senior center piece, last year we did approve a 5% increase, and they were able to use that however they wished. Is that
Correct.
right? And I know that.
Can I just jump in because that's page 14.
Oh.
I think it's going to get to kind of historical data for senior centers. Is that where you're going?
Well, I haven't seen page 14, so I don't know if. Actually, what I wanted to ask was, that's in part of my question, but I know that you collect from the senior centers who use the 5%. Well, let me start here. Did all of them use the 5% over the course, or you still don't know?
I believe they have all done their final budget amendments.
Okay, so through a budget amendment that comes to you, you understand how they've expended the additional dollars.
Correct.
And was that all over the map? Did some provide new programs? Did some expand existing programs? Did some of it go into, I think some of it went into salaries, benefits?
The majority went into administration. There was some input into some operations, and then some other line items between, some programming. But the
Okay.
majority was administration.
All right. I'll just say from my perspective, one of the things that I do with senior centers is incentivize them through some dollars from the millage to offer new programs, expand existing programs if there's demand for those. Maybe even some capital expenses. I know that we gave out, wasn't through your area, but through ARPA, I believe, $100,000 went to each of the 16 centers. At that time, there were 16, and that was really, really well received. So, I'll just say as one commissioner that I'd be interested in coming up with a pot of money that we could offer to senior centers exclusively for them to add additional programming, serve additional people, or maybe the same person more than once, duplicated count, or spend some of it on capital. And your office, are you set up, if we were to create such a fund, whatever the dollar amount, you could set up an RFP process for that, I assume, and receive proposals that are consistent with the spirit of the fund? Is that
Absolutely.
fair to
Or an
say?
application process, whoever
Right.
wants to go through. Yes.
And then if I might, I guess I see the senior centers a little bit differently than the providers in that, and correct me if I'm wrong, the senior centers have what I'll say is an automatic formula every year, level 1, level 2, level 3, and unless we decide to cut it, they come in at that amount from the previous year. Is that right?
Correct.
Level 1 are the most active or visited senior centers. No,
Level 1 is
3.
the.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
Okay.
our smaller one.
Yep.
Level 3 is
Thank you.
the larger one.
Thank you. So, but that's not true of the providers, I don't think. Every year they have to put in, or is it every other year, a new proposal based on the need. So we need lawns cut, we need snow removed, we need transportation and medical appointments. they're not guaranteed to get that over and over. They have to apply, right?
They'd go through the RFP process, so it's put out for 1 year, and then there's a contract for 1 year, renewable by the commissioners for an additional 2. So they don't have to apply unless there's a concern for 3 years.
Okay, but then when they're done with the 3 years, assuming they get all 3, if there's still a need in that area, so transportation, lawns, et cetera, they would have to reapply based on a new request for proposals out of your office.
Correct.
Okay. So my inclination on so I've already said what I like on the senior center side, which is for them to be able to do new things and incentivize that with some dollars, probably structured based on their level, so that we wouldn't, each level, the higher the level, or no, the higher the level, level 3 is the largest senior centers and get the most from the formula. I would be in favor of something that allowed them to put in for, say, up to $10,000 for new programming, expanded programming, or capital needs, just making up the 10,000 figure, and maybe level 2 is 7,500, and maybe the level 1s could put in for up to 5,000. And I don't know the mix of levels 1, 2, and 3, so I don't know if they maximize that, what it would add up to. But so that's my idea on the senior center side. On the provider side, I'm very much in favor of trying to reduce the wait lists. There are people in need. And so whether I support, the exact dollar amounts that are in these or in the resolution that we under number 2, I do believe that we've got seniors who are in many cases homebound, or mostly homebound, who are relying on these particular services. So I just wanted to share that with my colleagues before we get into more discussion. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, go ahead, Josh.
Just to, one last thing and I'll shut up. On page 14, we try to paint the picture of what senior centers have gotten, and we kind of picked where the bottom was in terms of the financial crisis, mortgage crisis, right? So in that year, 2013, when it really started to hit the county, they did see a reduction in by about 9.2% because of the reduction in funding that we got. They did do some specialized grants in 2013, and then they were flat for a number of years. 15, we started to pick up where we said, we'll pay for your audit so that you don't have to do that anymore. And then in 22, realizing that it had been flat for some time, we had some fund balance available. They got a 15% increase in 2022. In 2024, they then got another 5% increase. In addition to, each center was able to apply for up to $100,000 for capital needs. And I believe all of them but maybe one applied for that and got those funds. And then in 2026, our current fiscal year, you guys then also gave them another 5% increase. So since 22, they have gotten 25% plus, $100,000 each to offset, so they didn't have to put that increase into capital needs, but they were able to offset that over there. So we want to make sure you guys had a clear picture around how senior centers have been funded as well. That's all I have.
Okay, Commissioner Flewellen.
Chair, thank you. Has anybody done the math to see if, from that 9.2% decrease to the 25% they've been given, if they're back where they were in 2012 based on inflation?
We know that they're higher than they were inflation since 22. I don't know that fiscal went all the way back from inception, but I can find that for you.
Yeah, if you could, because 9.2, that's 10% decrease. Now we've added 25% over the last 12 years, but
25% plus 100,000.
Plus 100,000, but inflation was 20% for 4 years, so I would love to know that. Thank you.
Yep, I can find that for you.
Okay, we have 7 options before us. I don't know how that relates to the agenda that's before us. I guess we'll just go through them one at a time. And Commissioner Shoemaker.
Mr. Chair, I think if we go item by item, it might be more confusing for everybody. I think the best way is to just pick one of the recommended proposals that are put in front of us. or I think probably some discussion is due. For me, if it's okay, I'm gonna kind of tell the board where I am with this. I'm a proposal 6 fan because I do believe that, guess what, my main concern is that we needed to increase the additional clients we are serving. Yes, it's a little lower than what we'd recommended with the 5% for the senior centers, but it's still 3.5, which is a healthy increase for now. And it allows us to additionally increase those services. You're gonna increase services for in-home care. You're gonna increase 58 people. You know, your home delivery, you're gonna increase 90 additional clients with that, and then you're gonna increase 1,500 additional rides. And then you're gonna add 2 crews, so 3.5% is a pretty good increase for the senior centers, and you're adding additional care. What I like about it is, to Mr. Freeman's point though, you're not rewarding a contract and increasing a contract that you've already signed with somebody. You're adding additional people.
Okay, would you like to do that as a substitute motion?
I would put to replace,
As substituting 51 and 53.
is that the only ones we'd be replacing is 1 and 2
Yeah.
for now? Now, we did pass, didn't we pass some a couple weeks ago though? No? All of them?
There was one on the mission statement that failed. I think that's the only one that was voted on, maybe.
Okay, are those numbers that we did pass though?
Passed no fund, the board has passed nothing that would have provided funding yet.
For additional, okay, thank you, Mr. Freeman. So my proposal would be a motion on budget proposal 6, that we move forward with that and have the staff create appropriate resolutions to match this funding proposal by the next meeting.
Support.
So as I read it, in lieu of resolution 0851 and 0853, the motion is to approve budget proposal number 6. Any discussion?
I have discussion. My question would be relative to capacity as it relates to the service providers. I support getting the wait list down. I also support wholeheartedly serving more seniors. I think by doing that, we're going in the right direction. My question through you, Mr. Chair, through to Lynn, is a capacity question as relates to the vendors. Do these vendors have a capacity to take on additional seniors? Do you have a read of their capacity? Can you speak to that in any way?
Yes, through the chair to you. Yes, we've already had meetings. My staff has had meetings with all of 4 of these service providers to already have numbers in place to know that moving forward October 1, we can immediately start making an impact on this wait list. It does involve, which we have done through RFPs, bringing on one other in-home service provider and another transportation to not duplicate the service, but to address this wait list. We don't want to overload, as you said, we don't want to overload a current provider who's doing a great job by saying, just because there's money, take care of it. We're adding additional providers. We've worked with St. Luke's for how he's going to add additional supervisors and additional crews. So behind the scenes, yes, all of this has been done and can be done.
Okay, thank you. My other question, I have just a couple more quick questions. My other question is about, we talked about capacity. My other question as it relates to this is, do we know on average, based on the different tiers in terms of the centers, what a 3.5% increase will look like?
Yes, the 3.5 brings them up, the level 3s about $8,000 each, and the level 2s a little over $5,000 each, and the level 1s about two to 3,000. That one's a little different because it's a partial year.
So how do we ensure what can we add to this? I can support proposal 6. But, how do we ensure that this additional 3.5% is not used for like salaries? Has that already been discussed? Maybe I missed it. Make sure doesn't go into salaries, benefits, that kind of thing for like existing staff.
This board could certainly approve to put a little caveat into the contract saying this additional 3.5% for inflationary or approval to go towards programming only. We, as the department, would see that almost as a separate budget, and we would be able to go back and forth to reimburse only for programming within that additional 3.5%.
So I like to see us add that to it as a part of number 6. That way we make sure the increase doesn't go directly into someone's pocket, but is used for services.
You still have the floor.
You made the original motion. Is that something you'll consider adding to your motion?
If I may, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. My concern is this: if they do increase programming, they're going to have increase in staff. You're going to have some increase in staff if you're increasing programming, because somebody has to administer the program, somebody has to do something with it. So to just cap it, that they can't spend any of it, is going to be tough, I believe, because the only way they're going to have to recoup the salary of that member who's providing those additional services, because it takes somebody to be in that building during that period of time. If there's an event going on, or they're playing cards, or they're doing something. So I'm not opposed to a percentage of it that you can't use for it, but they are going to have some increase in staffing if you're increasing programming. So I just have a little problem with saying you can't use it at all for funding staff.
Mr. Chair.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not saying I'm opposed to that, but I think it's an unnecessary guardrail, because money's fungible, right? You give them an extra 3.5%. If they increase programming, if they increase salaries, it's all the same. If you say you can only use that 3.5% for programming, okay, then they have 3.5% in their budget to increase salaries. So it's 6 and 1/2 dozen the other, I think.
If I may.
Can I make this comment and then go?
Yeah.
If the chair. I don't think so, because you can take the percent, or say it's $8,000, and say here's extra $8,000, and they say, well, the center director, we're going to increase the salary $8,000 because I feel like I'm underpaid. Gone. We can say you can't do that. It's got to be a service or a program, and then now they're accountable to the senior services department, where they're saying, hey, we added 2 additional sewing classes. Well, we know as a part of the cost to put on that class, it is a cost for the person or persons that's doing it, and that cost is associated with the cost of adding that service, if you will. And my understanding is then senior services will be able to track that and see that, okay, this $8,000 was used for 2 sewing classes. Okay, well, the cost for sewing classes was, both classes was, $3,500 a piece. Okay. And you supported 60 seniors. I don't know, I'm just making up numbers. But maybe senior services can add to that. Is that how that will work?
So we look at it as the majority of the centers already, if they have classes, whether, line dancing classes or other instructors, they pay the fees of the instructors that come in. We then reimburse them. So they're getting reimbursed already for that programming. So that could be additional dollars to have additional classes that we would reimburse for.
And if I may continue, Mr. Chair, so when they send the invoice for the reimbursement, would you or would you not be able to tell that there was an additional class or what have you? You would be able to.
We would be able to tell, first of all, by the billing, the invoice, how much it went up, and we would also run the number on my senior center to make sure that those 2 match. That there were 5 line dancing hustle classes, and that we were reimbursed for 5 instructor, 5 hours for that. So they would both match.
Okay, thanks.
Commissioner Kuzno.
Yeah, Lynn, the services, are not the service, the, senior citizen centers, when they do like a sewing class or whatever, that price or is fixed for the person, is part of that service or fee that they pay to have an instructor there, correct? And that person may charge $15 or whatever, or they may just volunteer. That's really up to them. But the staff at the Senior Citizen Center, those are employees of the municipalities?
Yes,
They're not employees of the county?
no.
You're not overseeing those people? And who sets their salaries? The municipality?
Sorry, something in my eye. Yes, either the municipality or the governing board of that nonprofit.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Flewell.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Real quick, the next step I was gonna take was, I understand what Commissioner Lloyd's saying, I do, but are we gonna put those same guardrails on the service providers? I don't have a dog in this fight, I don't go to a senior center, I don't run one either, right? But we're giving $240,000, $300,000, we're giving pretty large increases to the service providers. Are we gonna put the same guardrails on them to make sure that all of a sudden the CEO of medical transport doesn't make $300,000 a year? Right? That's my question. Are we overcomplicating this thing in the course of this motion?
You don't wanna create a shell game, you know, I mean.
I think I can answer some of these
Oh.
real
That's
simple.
what I was gonna say that.
Sorry. So the senior centers are, all of them, not completely funded by us, right?
Some have, yes, some have under other funding sources, which we encourage.
So when they submit their budget, they submit for what we award them. And they can put in, they could substitute wages for something else. So if we give an increase and say you have to use it for this, that might already be in their budget and they're just gonna shift it. Like, we really have no way to audit that unless we're auditing their full financials every reimbursement base, or every reimbursement period.
Okay, anything further?
Thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think to answer Commissioner Flewellen's question, the additional funding we're giving to relieve the need for increased services, that will be sent out again as far as a bid process to replace those. Is that what we're thinking?
The current.
So the wait list, to take care of the wait list. I'm sorry, Lynn, I wasn't really clear.
Oh, no problem. With the current waiting list, with G-Card and our lawn and snow care and, lawn service, that can be done with our current providers under this current RFP. We did put out an RFP for the transportation and the in-home because we knew when this was being talked about that our current providers could not take on that amount of clients. So it went through RFP for bid, and we received good bids. We have met with them, so if this is passed and approved, we are able to start October 1st and work on these wait lists.
So what I'm saying is we're guaranteed to get these services with the contracts we have.
Yes.
They're not gonna increase their CEO's wage. They might, because there might be a cost attributed to doing more business, but it's not gonna be with the $200,000 we gave them.
No, that's gonna go towards the hours of the person going into the home doing the work.
I want to make sure we clarify that for everybody. And then,
Yeah.
so, something to think about also when we're doing this is that we had 2 senior centers open up, if I'm remembering correctly, in the last year. So the amount of money we're actually giving senior centers, yeah, the percentage to each center is less, but we've also allocated more of that pie to senior centers than we have before. So we got to take that into account. So like I said, is anything perfect? No, but I believe Lynn and her staff and our staff here will go through it and make sure these funds are appropriate. If they see something out of whack, I believe they're going to. I also believe that a lot of our senior centers, are trying to just make it through, and I don't think they're trying to pay their executive a bunch, but to Lynn's point and everyone's point is there's no way really for us to stop it, because if the example, City of Linden wants to pay their administrator more and use this fund for something else, the City of Linden is just gonna pay their administrator more, so. I like what we have in front of us. I think it's an improvement. Can we always improve? And I think we should always be, and I think this board as a body believes in that. We can constantly get better with this, and I think just next year we strive to get better, and we have conversations, and we should be having more conversations with the senior centers and their directors as far as directly. And I would encourage, I had a nice conversation, I won't call her out, with one of our senior center directors today, and I had some information brought to me that I thought was very useful, and created some ideas in my head, and they are still meeting to have these conversations, a group of senior center directors. And, you know, I would encourage them to actually reach out to us and let us know what those dates are, so we could show up, maybe pop in and have some dialogue additionally, because I think we can get better at this. And I encourage the service providers also, if they need something, to reach out to me. And I think the rest of the board feels that way if they see something else. So I think we've come up with a stable plan to move forward for this year, but I think we can get better. So thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate it.
Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none on the motion, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Now,
Mr. Chair, can I just say thank you to Lynn and Allison and Brianna? And I'm not ignoring the finance guy, but you all have been working on this for a long time, so thank you.
okay,
I'll start over.
thank you. Oh, well, I guess you can stay there, because we got two more. Approval of a resolution, resolution 2026-0854. Approval of a resolution directing the Department of Senior Services
I'll move it.
to develop an
Support.
annual, okay, properly moved and supported. Any discussion?
I should
Commissioner
support
Shoemaker.
discussion. What's this orientation for the Board of Commissioners gonna look like, this annual?
I believe it's something that she already does.
Yeah, I think we need to
Annually?
develop something very specific so that you guys have the information you need to make decisions on what the department is doing, and so when you're having these discussions, everyone's on the same page. So we don't have it yet. We need to develop a specific orientation.
I think the notion was along the lines of, we're 9 people with 9 different understandings or levels of understanding, sometimes maybe misunderstanding pieces of it, and to have an annual requirement for you all, you and your staff, to come forward and answer questions in an environment where there's maybe no resolution. It's just telling us, you know, how you do your work, how the senior centers function, the RFP process, whatever, so that we can make better decisions when we get to votes. Is that?
Through the chair to you. So through the task force, they recommended almost an orientation, basically. I already present a annual report to all of you in January. This is making it a little bit more formal. Well, I'll come before you in a January meeting of your choosing, give you an overview of the year, present the annual report, let you know if there's anything new and exciting coming down, give a general update, because we'll be 3 months into the fiscal year, and then that's your opportunity to ask questions or to give me more assignments to bring back to you.
Thank you, Mr.
Commissioner
Chair.
Sewell.
It sounds like exactly what you do already, honestly. So, I'm with you, Mr. Chair. I don't know why this is necessary. We already do this.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Commissioner Winfrey will remember this. When we dissolved the health board, they were supposed to come to us, and this is a policy also to bring us quarterly reports on diseases and a report, and that has rarely been done. So are we just creating another policy that we're not going to follow through with? Because that's what it seems like to me, that where we are. Sometimes, you know, we outsmart ourselves and we just don't follow through with them. Because I would think, to me, knowing what diseases are spreading through our county quarterly, would be even more than Lynn give me this report. So if we're going to do this, I'm fine, but can we make sure we do all of them then? So, you know, because I'm sure Charles remembers that was one of the things when we dissolved it, that we were going to get those reports.
Well, I do believe that the health department has presented their
Recently,
quarterly.
but they had not before that. They had not before that. We've dissolved that. What, BB was still around back then, so.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Aye. All right, let's, Josh, can you do a roll call vote?
Commissioner Lloyd,
No.
Commissioner Winfrey,
No.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Can you read back the, I don't even know what the hell we're voting on.
Thank you.
this is item number 3,
I was
the
on the
annual
back
report.
page. Sorry about.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Commissioner Avery,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
No.
Commissioner Kuzma,
I'll do a yes.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Yes.
Commissioner Flewelly.
No.
Motion fails as a tie.
The motion passes.
No, it failed.
Fails.
Oh, it fails?
Yep, it was tied.
No.
Oh, okay, all right, motion fails.
Josh, if we have this long a meeting, we might need some granola bars or something for everybody.
Okay, moving on, resolution 2026-0855. Approval of a resolution directing the Department of Senior Services to develop scope of service and releasing an RFP for case management and/or social work services in the millage-funded senior centers.
Can I move it for discussion purposes?
I'll support it till I have.
Okay.
Properly moved and
And
supported.
I'm moving it for discussion purposes. I think I'd already thought of this, but Mr. Freeman says, given what we just voted on earlier, we don't have enough funding for this. Is that right?
Right, okay.
Because the proposal 6 already puts us below the recommended minimum fund balance, so we don't have enough money. I'm not chairing the meeting, he is.
Okay, Commissioner Lewis.
Actually, I think we have enough funding. It just takes us below what has been recommended. So we still have a choice if we want to do it or not. No disrespect to, the reasons why there's minimums and
That's
folks
true.
that have said it, but we can do something different if that's our pleasure.
True.
Commissioner Flewelly?
Mr. Chair, thank you. So is this the social worker position that was outlined in item 7, option 7?
No, this is different. This would be,
Different.
yeah, this would be a more broad program than just one person.
This would be the one that would go out for RFP, that would be an external social worker that goes into the senior centers, whereas
Be
the
more
other
than
one
one.
would be a county employee housed in senior services that would do the case, or go into the senior centers doing the social work, as well as enhance other areas of our office of outreach.
So way more than 150,000. Likely.
150,000 was for the RFP that we thought the contracted employee or the contracted service provider for this. That was the number we budgeted.
Okay. I guess I was just wondering if this particular resolution could be amended to meet that section of option 7.
Yes.
That would save additional money, which would offset the loss of the fund balance.
Yes, but you would need to do them in tandem. You can't do one without the other.
Right.
Yep.
So are you?
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to figure out how to make that motion.
Okay,
If
so-
I just wanted to clarify that this resolution was just to develop an RFP for this service to, and I'm sorry, I keep pointing to Karen, but she's our senior center director here that's represented, to see what a social worker would look like in the center. This is no guarantee that it's going to work. This is no guarantee you would approve it. This is simply developing a scope of service for the potential to go out. There's no money tied to it right now. My estimate, based on what social workers cost, was why I put in at $150,000. But this is really just to develop a scope of service to see if this is truly a need within our centers.
So I think Commissioner Flewelly, you would want to make a substitute motion for resolution 088 or 055, I'm sorry.
Can I just jump in real quick? I know this is kind of confusing because we're trying to deal with multiple things. If you guys want us to, we'll do it. There's no need to do a resolution for this piece. We can go out and do an RFP. We can come back to you in a month or two with what that cost would be, and then you can decide how you want to try to fit that into funding. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, and I'm okay with that. I'm just curious to see it, 'cause I like that piece in number 7, bringing the referrals and the intake and everything in-house. I like that, and if that involves that social worker too, I would like to see what that looks like in a resolution form with all the costs laid out, me personally. So I'm not making a substitute motion at this time. I just want to see what that would look like with what we just passed.
So that RFP will take us probably a couple months, so just give us a couple months and we can come back to you with full detail, right? Because we need to go out, get the proposals back, understand what that cost will be, and then I just want to set an expectation on timeline.
Commissioner Getzinger and then Commissioner Lloyd.
If we did the social worker, would that be in addition to the 3.5% if the person was in the center?
And we already passed it.
Yep. In addition.
Commissioner Lloyd.
We have this resolution before us now to do this. I think we just vote on it versus not voting on it and you all just do it. We can vote whether or not we want them to do it. Right now, it's on our agenda, so I like to act on it. It's on our agenda. I appreciate the you know what I'm saying.
Would you have to do a RFP if the person is inside?
We could do a cost comparison, how much, we could go out for RFP, have that, let's say A, B, and C agency comes back with a social worker proposal, then we could work with fiscal services and human resources to see what a cost would look like for hiring a social worker housed within the Department of Senior Services. We could have both of those for you.
But it seems like we want to kick this down the road and postpone it for a later date.
If you pass it, we'll make it happen for you.
It sounds to me as if we pass it, we can do what Lynn just said, which is do this and then eventually compare outside versus internal, which is what I think everyone kind of wants, right?
Yeah.
If we pass this. Yeah.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, we will vote.
I don't know if we have a motion in support yet, do we?
There is.
I moved it for discussion.
Oh, sorry.
Yep. So all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you, Lynn, thank you. Okay, resolution, new business, resolution 2026-0849. Approval of an agreement between Genesee County and Michigan State University in an amount not to exceed $95,000 to assess Genesee County's senior services millage, distribution, and community needs. The cost of this agreement will be paid from the senior services millage.
Support.
Properly moved and supported, Commissioner Llewellyn.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chair, through you to probably Mr. Freeman. Looks like the exact same resolution that we defeated on June 17th, except it's minus $5,000.
That would be correct.
Was it, I guess, how did it come back?
I was instructed to put it on the agenda.
I think there were commissioners that missed the vote.
Okay.
It can come back if it's in a different form.
Yep.
So if we just say $5,000, make it different, okay.
Cut $5,000 off it. Okay.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
You know, each time we have these studies, and I've been down here for 7.5 years, I'm amazed at how simplistic it is, and we spend the kind of money we do. $95,000 could be probably one of these social work talking about. We've already went slightly over what we want for our reserve, so now we have this, or you can add a person. We know we could use a social worker. We know we could use that additional help. What are they going to tell us? And again, when do some of these groups that collect taxes from our residents say, you know what, we're going to do it? Because you know what they're going to do? They're going to hire some grad students to do this. And they're not going to pay them garbage, because if you've done research at the colleges, you know what they generally pay them. So this is not a great practice. One, for us as a county board, financially, this is not a good practice if we want the social worker later, because I guarantee you, whenever we hire somebody, we're at least $100,000 down here, and if they're internal. Anybody with a degree or sophisticated enough to handle this. So we're looking into more than maybe one internal, external. So that, and on top of the cost, $100,000, and now we went to 95, excuse me. For what? For what? Can somebody explain when they're spending $100,000 to me? Please tell me what off the top of your head that you're voting for it now, what the scope of this study is going to give you. Don't look it up. Just tell me what it's going to give you before you vote yes. That's all I'm asking. So, thank you.
Commissioner Lloyd.
I will not be supporting this resolution. In terms of the public knowledge, we have a board that supports our seniors. We voted to provide additional funding. We created the task force because we're looking to see how we can even be more studious in our responsibility and commitment to our seniors. And so there are resolutions that we're passing and resolutions that we are not. And resolutions that are not passing is not indicative of our commitment. We honor our seniors, we support our seniors, we're committed to our seniors, but every resolution we receive is not a resolution we have to pass. I would rather use those resources to hire, and not saying these resources will go to that, but there are other funding priorities that I have, like what my colleague mentioned about a social worker, which I'd like to see, and other ways that we're able to more directly fund the seniors. I'm confident with the team that we have to be able to review the numbers and what's coming through their office and what they're providing approvals for and what they're reimbursing. And I trust their insight to be able to say to me as a county commissioner, this is working, it's not, this is how the funds are using. I don't need, for the purposes of this, to have an outside partnering entity to just come to these ladies to ask the questions. They're going to ask them for information directly that they're going to need to do. We're going to pay them $100,000 to do. We have them in-house to provide us the same information. So for those reasons, I'm not going to be supporting this resolution.
Commissioner Llewellyn and then Commissioner Kuzno.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I said back in June, it's my opinion that this is why we formed the task force to begin with. We asked them to spend 9 months, 6 months, whatever it was, to tell us their thoughts on how this millage money should be spent. Could have saved a lot of time if we'd have just wrote a check for $100 grand and give it to MSU to do a study. But I don't feel like that's why we did this. I've been told I was wrong, that that's not what some people have told me I was wrong, that's not what the task force was for. But we could identify any problem and throw $100 grand at it and get a study done that tells us nothing. Or we could have a task force that tells us give more money to the senior centers. Or we could listen to our staff. We can take the recommendations the task force gave us. We can listen to our staff and take their recommendations. I'm voting no because I feel like, again, we set up a study to set up a subcommittee to set up a group to look at a subcommittee study, and it's just a waste of time. It's a vicious cycle that gets us nowhere. So I'll be voting no. Thank you.
Commissioner Kuzno.
I'll be voting no for all the reasons the three prior commissioners stated. I think we can better spend the money on something providing a service to the seniors instead of spending it on this. And I'm confident with the board and our staff, but in particular, our board has really been picking this apart pretty good. And so I'm confident with this board being able to make those kind of decisions without further study. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, aye. Opposed, nay.
Nay.
You all are
Nays
quite
have it.
persuasive.
Motion fails. Okay. Resolution 2026-0879. Approve of an agreement between Genesee County and Beecher Board of Education.
Mr. Chair, can we move 2 and 3 together since they're very simple?
Yes, sir, we can.
Support.
Okay, any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I have to abstain on number 3 because it goes to
I will
my
draw my motion. Then. Sorry.
employer.
Okay. All right, on resolution 0879, we did get a motion, right?
I'll move it.
I'll move it. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to move it.
Okay, moved and supported. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 2026-0907, approval of an agreement between Genesee County and C.S. Mott Community College. Amount of $158,762.
So move.
Support.
Properly moved and supported. Discussion?
I have discussion. I think Commissioner Wayhill has to abstain from this.
Oh, okay.
Do
All
we
right.
take a vote on it?
I always follow your direction, Commissioner.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
I abstain, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Resolution 2026-0910.
Move it.
Support.
Properly moved and supported. Y'all saving me a lot of energy tonight. Okay. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. I guess everybody wants to go home now, huh? Okay, resolution 2026-0963.
Mr. Chair, I move 5 and 6.
Support.
Okay, properly moved and supported. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have, motion carries. Resolution 2026-1011. Approval of Genesee County's annual payments in an amount not to exceed $1,847,054 to area hospitals
Report
for
with a question.
uncompensated care.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Is there a motion?
It was motion.
Yeah, motion support.
All right. Commissioner
Thank you, sir.
Llewellyn.
How did we come with the number?
Worked with Crystal to look at what is the available fund balance, and, you know, with the proposed changes to the millage, how can we make sure we're being sustainable over time? And then the odd number is because we backed out the county's payment to the Medical Control Authority.
All right, that's what I was making sure. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First off, what is the minimum number we would have to pay these by state statute?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I can find out for you.
It's lower than what we have here, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Can you explain to the public why we cut these dollars out? Or
Yep, so annually, the three major hospitals in our area, Hurley, McLaren, and Henry Ford, provide us with a dollar amount of uncompensated care for both inpatient and outpatient. And then we determine at the county, staff determines at the county, makes a recommendation to this board, the level of funding that we believe is available in the health services millage, and we do it proportionally. So, you know, just to make the numbers easy, if McLaren had 66% of the uncompensated care, whatever that number is, we divvy out 66% to McLaren, and then, does that make sense?
if I may, Mr. Chair, continue, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the things is with the Genesee Health Plan we have going right now is it's not for emergency care, and most people, unfortunately, who, when they're having a problem, that's where they show up, is to our emergency centers. That's why I'm not a fan of the way we spend this millage. We need to change the way we do this. We need to change the way we look at this, because this is just 1.8, okay, million. It's not effective. And I can speak personally because I live with a woman, unfortunately, whose office is right around the corner from the emergency room at Hurley Hospital. And they don't know where to go. They don't know where to get service, but they need insurance for, they're coming in, they aren't coming in for most things. They're coming in because they have a problem. They're coming in because it is an emergency to them, or they need care. They don't have a primary physician. I think we really, and I've said this when we looked over this, we had the workshops and everything else, like we need to relook at the way we're doing this. Commissioner Kuzno's brought it up since I've been down here with them. The fact is we spend more money than any other area, and our health outcomes are, I don't want to say it, how do I want to put this? Very low. And we've got to change the way we do this. And on top of it, I'm going to vote no on this because, one, like I said, I don't agree with the way we're allocating it. But two, we got to do something different with the way we're doing this. We have to, for the benefit of our residents. I would ask one thing, Mr. Chair, to Mr. Freeman, is I would like a list, if we could, just provided, of each hospital's executive and what they make. If you could look that up, have somebody look that up for me.
I have the article up on my desk.
I'd appreciate it before next meeting, please, if it does pass.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Flewellen.
Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. One question, not to be facetious. If we gave him $3, would that satisfy the statute?
I don't think it's that low.
No?
I think it's
Yeah. What is the total?
I wanna say it's around 100,000, but I don't wanna give you that number and
yeah.
be wrong, so I wanna look it up.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure, because, we've talked about, I've only been here a year and a half, but we've talked about $2 million several times. And I had the idea of the med control payment being backed out of it, but if it's, like Commissioner Shoemaker says, I mean, if it's $30 million in uncompensated care, what's this $2 million doing for them? And it's like the oil company saying they're broke when the gas is $4 a gallon. We know it's not true. So if you could find out for me, I'd appreciate that.
Yep.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Wayou.
Question about, I guess it's related to the statutory requirement. Sounds like it's somewhere between $3 and 1.8 million. If we were to say only approve $1 million, would the balance then remain? It would remain in the fund balance for the health millage. And then if there's an increase in the uninsured because of Medicaid cuts, as we know, those are coming, or people falling off the Affordable Care Act, which we know is happening already, could that $800,000 then eventually end up with GHP to support those folks?
Yes.
Everyone hear what I just said? I mean, what will the hospital say if we came in at $1 million? Do we know? Did you negotiate this amount with them, or?
No, I told them the amount we had available based on conversations with fiscal. It's never really been a negotiation with them. This is what
Telling them that we're able to do. I mean, honestly, I'd prefer to do a lower number and leave money in the fund balance, knowing that it's likely that the number of uninsured in our county will be increasing over the next several years.
Commissioner Cousineau.
Okay, so we're taxing through a millage, our residents for health care, to provide health care to people that don't have insurance. But then we're turning around and giving money out of that to the hospitals for uninsured people coming in. Why is there any uninsured people going in there if we're already covering them, if everybody's covered? I don't quite understand some of this logic. And some of it I also have a problem with. We're giving the hospitals this kind of money, and we run into the controversy of the, what do you call it, the med control? Where we provide a substantial amount of the money for that, although the state law requires the hospitals to do it. And they don't want to provide any financial backing for it. And then you throw in all the money that's to the CFOs and, and all the, I live this, and I've followed this trend for 50 years now in the healthcare industry. And the increases are not going to the doctors, they're not going to the care, it's going to the administration of the hospitals, and it's going to the administration of the insurance companies. That's where we're seeing this high inflationary, high cost of healthcare going. When I first got in practice, people, they either paid cash or you build an insurance company. There was never any questions asked. You just send in the bill, you got the money. And then they say, well, there's too much fraud going on, so we got to start this procedure. Well, that costs money. And it costs the hospitals and the doctors money to do the bill, to do the billing. And then they do, well, that costs too much, so we got to start another program. And all they're doing is they keep adding more and more programs to administrate, not provide, administrate. And that's where our money's going, and this is a prime example of it, so I'll be a no.
Commissioner Lloyd.
Mr. Chair, I'm not disputing anything that my colleague mentioned, because he understands it from his perspective. I spent some time on about 7 years or 5 years on the Hurley Board of Managers, and for a period as chair of that board as well. And residents go into that hospital with no insurance and they're treated or they have surgery or whatever, when they're, unlike McLaren, who's a private hospital, Hurley Medical Center being the only public hospital in the state of Michigan, by the way. When you go to McLaren, just had a member of my church. She went and had a couple serious surgeries, and before they discharged her, they came in and asked her for payment for the services they provided. And I'd never heard of that being done. I'm sure it had been done, but they asked for payment right there. And she was blessed enough to be able to pay it, and she did. Hurley Medical Center, you go in and you get care and you get discharged, and they don't come in there asking for a payment. And the hospital, that's a lot of resources that they spend out, and this money helps to reimburse it. I'm not arguing that they should receive the full amount of this. I'm just suggesting that the uncompensated care, as we all know, it does take place. And I do hear you, Commissioner, through Mr. Chair, to you about the executive salaries and so on and so forth, because they're up there, even at that public institution. And but I know that the uncompensated care takes place. So I just want to make sure that if this millage is intended for that purpose, that we do it. My question for Commissioner Wayhill, and I'm not against, what would be the reason, and this is a question of ignorance, for maintaining some of the resources in the fund balance?
So the GHP, which is the provider of insurance for the uninsured under the millage, could handle increasing numbers based on everything we're hearing about Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. That's why.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. So we don't, all of these monies, this is a question of ignorance. All of these monies, I guess I'm hearing all of these monies are not intended to go directly to the hospitals. Is that a true statement?
Correct. So the millage is to provide health insurance to the uninsured in Genesee County. Mm-hmm. Did I say that?
Healthcare delivery system to
the uninsured. Yeah. So we then decide as a board how we want to piecemeal that out. Part of that pie has historically gone to GHP, and they provide insurance for that population. Part of it goes to the jail. We know $5 million or so. Part of it is this uncompensated care based on a statutory requirement, which I've not read the statute, but it's my understanding. What's the other piece that I'm missing?
A little bit goes to the health department.
A little bit to our internal health department. So the point I was trying to make earlier, it could be 1.8, it could be 1.5, it could be 3.5, maybe it could be under $1 million. I was leaning over to our corporation counsel to ask him if he's looked at this yet, and he hasn't. But if this isn't time sensitive, I wonder if we might have our attorney look at the statute, as Commissioner Flewelling suggested earlier, maybe get back to us at the first meeting of this committee, and I guess it would be September, and we'd have more knowledge about what the range is that we have to contribute and what the requirement is in terms of our compliance. Then we can make a more informed decision about whether we want to add to the fund balance, knowing that we're going to have an increase in the uninsured.
If that's a substitute motion, I'll support it.
I'll make that substitute.
Mr. Chair, I just want, I've talked to Corporation Counsel because my wife has accepted a new position there. I will be abstaining on this because Hurley Hospital is involved.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, on the substitute motion, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay, opposed, nay?
Nay.
Motion carries. Okay, moving on to, I guess that's the end of my agenda. We stand adjourned. 8:25.
All right, call the Public Works Committee to order at 8:26. Roll call, please. Lloyd?
Present.
Winfrey?
Here.
Getzinger,
Present.
Brown, Avery,
Here.
Shoemaker,
Present.
Kuzma,
Here.
Wayhill,
Here.
Llewellyn. Present. Thank you. Resolution 2026-1052, approval of meeting minutes July 15th, 2026.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comments to the committee? Any public comments to the committee? Public comments to the committee? None. Public comments are closed. 26-529, Director of Administration, Capital Projects update.
If you guys don't mind, can we postpone this?
Next week?
Yeah, unless you,
Yeah.
unless you.
No,
wanna
we
go
can
through
put it on the full meeting, full board.
Unless you
Yeah.
wanna go through it tonight.
Nope.
So moved.
Okay, we'll just
Yeah.
postpone it to the full meeting.
Without objection. All right.
Do a consent on?
That's up to you, Marty. New business.
You're welcome, Ray.
I would offer 1 through 10 as a consent.
Support.
So moved.
Moved and supported. Any
Separations.
separations?
Could we separate 11 for discussion?
I did 1 through 10.
Oh, you did? And sorry, didn't hear
Yep.
that. And then I just would like an explanation on, 2, but you could do 1 through 10 and I would still probably vote the same. I just want.
So we got
explanation
motion and support for 1 through 10. Discussion?
on 2 if we could, just a little more explanation on that.
Our CIO is here and he can speak to number 2 for you.
Yeah.
You good? You know which one it is?
Pardon me?
Any questions on number 2?
Yes. Mike DeWeesha, CIO.
Go ahead, Mr. Shoemaker.
I just wanted a little more explanation on cybersecurity platform. Is this a new platform we're adding? Is this something different? Is this?
It's a testing platform. It tests our posture, challenges us, it makes sure that we don't have holes that we're not aware of.
So we're roughly, monthly, I'm doing the math here, about $6,000 roughly a month, a little under $6,000 a month for this, them to do that.
Yeah, doing the math. Yeah, that's about right.
Okay. It seems like a lot to me. It does. I realize we're a large organization, but, and I can say that because I sell software that actually does cybersecurity and tests firewalls and tests all kinds of other stuff and has a insurance policy with it that if something does happen, so it's pretty secure and it's nowhere near this dollar amount, but they're basing this also on the amount of employees and staff we have actually accessing the system also as they're doing their test, I'm assuming, Mike, right? When they gave you the bid?
I can't say for sure. I don't
Can
know.
you just find out for me so we could
Sure.
discuss it a little further? There's a couple of them on here, I'll just move it forward to the full board, but next week I'll probably be knowing, so thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Any further discussion on items 1 through 10? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 2026-0965, approval of the sale of Flushing District Court condominium.
I'll move it.
Support.
Moved and supported. Discussion, Commissioner Shoemaker.
Through the chair to Mr. Freeman, what was our appraisal on that property?
We got 10,000 over appraisal.
So, but what was?
I'm looking right now, 425.
Okay. And I just want to say to the board, just as a recognition, we changed the process kind of the way we did this and look at the good things that happen. So, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Freeman.
Any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We do have one add-on from the county parks. Approval to accept a grant from the add-on number 1. Would it entertain a motion to add it to the agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Discussion on adding to the agenda? Seeing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. So we have add-on number 1, approval to accept a grant from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation in an amount of $1 million for work associated with the Flint Riverfront Restoration Project.
I'll move it.
Support.
Moved and supported. Discussion.
I wonder if, Patrick, would you approach? This is a question related to the entire project, not this $1 million grant in particular, but as I recall from Q&A we did last year, the Riverbank Park was supposed to be further along by now. Am I right about that?
Yep.
Would you just share with us what the delays are and what new and improved timeline is?
Yeah, so you will see substantial completion in the amphitheater and the Marcus Hall block at the beginning of October with some punch list items going through there. The rest of the project, there is some funding, but we're still trying to get some of those funding gaps covered. So
That's the
working with the
fundraising
state
you've referred to several times?
Mhm, yep.
Okay. And then is it our goal then for summer season, festival season, I'll call it, next year?
Yes.
That it will be substantially up and running and available to the different
Yeah.
groups that use it?
Yeah, amphitheater will be. So I'll try not to take up too much time here, but you'll see the work going on behind you here. Happy Hollow, we're working on the single track mountain bike trails right now. Those will be substantially completed beginning in November, and then there will be phase 2 next year out there. Mott Park, you'll start to see some trails going in there here in the next month. And then Chevy Commons, they started moving material on that for the play garden, and that will be a 2-year project for that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Shoemaker.
Hey, Patrick, through the chair. How much shorter on this fundraising that we discussed last year? Because we were a couple million away last year, weren't we?
About 20.
Yeah, where are we at now?
I'd have to get back to you on that and see, but
Halfway there?
no, not yet.
3/4?
Yeah, we are waiting on some funding coming in, but I can't talk about that right now. So
Is it gonna cover the whole thing, you think?
at some point, most likely, yes.
What do you do? We've already started the project, correct?
Mhm.
What do you do if the funds don't come through? I know I asked this last year, but I'm just trying to.
So we have it broke into phases in that, so we complete the phases in the entirety as we move on.
Okay. You have enough to complete the phases, obviously,
Yes.
you started. So.
Yep.
So residents know at least there's no additional worry from there.
Yep.
So, thank you.
All set? Patrick, I have a question for you. Is there anybody else? No? When it comes to the state park, all these trails, everything's being put in.
Mhm.
Who's gonna secure those? Who's gonna patrol them?
So if you recall a couple meetings ago, you approved another full-time officer, parks officer for the state park. So right now, through the endowment that we have 2 full-time officers completely dedicated to the Flint State Park.
2.
Yes.
How
With
many
supplemental coverage.
How many do you need for 24/7 coverage?
Probably 2 more.
Okay. And how, do you have a plan for that, funding-wise?
So we have been talking with some of the funders on what we would need to do for that.
Okay. I would just hate for that to be understaffed, undermanned, and something bad happen on those trails.
Mhm.
It's gonna fall on all of us.
Yep.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. See no other business? We are adjourned at 8:35.